Hello, everyone. I apologize. I've been ill today, and I'm actually struggling. But we do this every week, so I try not to miss out. You know, So yeah. But first of all, welcome to the Magdalene Screening Show. Oh my God, I sound like a dying. Hey, headaches, temperature, like blocked head. Like I had to do steam baths to like just empty out the top of my head. Everything that could go wrong. The last time I was this ill was about 3.5 years ago or 4 years ago. In fact, I have to say massive shout out, and I know I've already thanked him. I don't know whether he's watching now, but I want to say massive shout out to Dr. Senu because God and that man rescued my life. Because at a point in time, I was so scared. I was terrified that, what's going on? Because I was so disoriented. I was in so much pain. I wasn't keeping anything down. But Dr. Senu, and this is a man who is a very, very busy man, and he was up to past midnight giving me advice, telling me what I needed to get. I've gotten all the medication you told me to get, by the way. My carer went to get today. Telling me everything I needed to get when I didn't have what he asked me to get. We looked at the alternatives I had in the house. Oof. You know what? I mean, like, I know, and I've said this before, I know pain well, and then trigeminal myalgia came, and I was like, okay, I don't know pain. Because that one came in, and I started like, dealing with it. I still haven't finished, if you look at my face, you can still see it's a bit uneven because one part's still swollen. Then this illness came like, I don't even understand. I'm still very cold, but I'm also very hot. So it's weird. So in case you're hearing a sound, it's my fan because it's weird. I'm cold, but I'm hot. So what I've done is I've just rubbed a lot of these Vicks, and then I've left the fan on. I've taken some pain relief, but this is hammering. I don't know what's going on. But anyways, we are going to do this show. Anyhow, we are doing it. The devil is a liar. We are doing this show. Yes. It takes a lot of energy to do that. You know what bothering me? What frightens me the most? That I won't be able to go to college tomorrow. We are doing our final project. I can't afford to miss any day. And let me tell you, I think what kickstarted this whole thing was on Friday. I was in class and I take all my notes on my iPhone. And this iPhone, me, I know Sabi how to use it. Like it was given to me as a present from by my older sister for my birthday. But I'm not an iPhone person. I've come to realize my phone are not we are not family members. So I put my phone down, and then our tutor came in and was giving us nothing. So I picked it up to put my notes. That's how my notes had disappeared. Hey, you know where heat? You know when you are watching a home video and they're telling you, I'm hot. I thought it was a home video. Kini. Heat from inside gripped me. I was like, I'm hot. I'm hot. They were like, oh, did you back it up? I said, which one is back it up again? Android, you never need to back anything up. You write it to save. It's gonna go, hey, God. They're like, no, you can save it on your cloud. I said, which cloud they gave me? I don't have cloud, though. That's how my notes disappeared. I cried for an hour solid because the rest of the class was an hour and I did not go back to that class and I was still crying. In fact, when they came out to come and help me, they were like, Abby, you really composed yourself because somebody else would be screaming. I was like, if I scream, what will happen now? I would just, like, when you just stand and you're just holding your head and water is just pouring from your eyes. So I think that's part of what started this whole illness because I have not had an emotional and unfortunately anything emotional anything emotional has a very bad knock-on effect on my body. So man, since Friday night I have not been myself. It got really bad on Saturday, the whole of Saturday. Oh my God. I was in agony. Sunday, because Dr. Senna stepped in by that time, it wasn't so bad. But I had to cancel work yesterday, couldn't go anywhere. So, yeah, it's been a very traumatic weekend for me. And I might not, I think I'm going to take college tomorrow, you
Hello.
know, of energy. Thankfully, you see, this is why I
Can't hear you.
because they know this is a wash. So when they know I'm down, they step up. So of course, my Abby, thank you for
I've been
coming
I've
to
been
rescue
I've been trying to join, but
my butt.
for some reason the link is not working okay. The link of I got until
The link
now
is not
recently
working.
when
That producer.
it needs to send another link. I don't know what link you guys were using. Anyway, how are you
I
though?
don't know. It's a God producer that connected everything. No, me, I just sit here and connect. I feel like 7 shades of crap.
Oh my days,
Abby, I've not felt sick like this in a long time. More. This
it's a
one
long time.
scared me. I'm not gonna
The
lie
headache is like
because
is the headache like migraine?
I was alone. It's not even it's headache. Like the front of my head here is like it's like as if I have frozen block there. See, I've taken this
Okay.
one now. I'm just rubbing my head with it because my head was boiling. My body was boiling, but was also cold.
Wow.
So it's only when I used to have malaria back in Nigeria that I used to feel like that. I not traveled in a long time. So don't be say I could go
It could be
anywhere, could carry
COVID. It
malaria.
could be COVID as well though. Have you had
COVID
COVID?
decay. No,
Have you
but
had
I
COVID?
did. I've not had COVID, but it's not COVID. I checked.
No, because when I had COVID, I had quite a lot of, I had temperature and had fever like whatever for the first few days. By the third day, I didn't feel anything anymore, but I was feeling, the way that you just described when I had COVID. And hello, hi Anika.
Hello.
So
Hi.
when I did the test, then it was reflecting that I do have COVID, but I was feeling better by the time I did the test. So that was why I said that. So
Well, wait, it's been how many days? Enuka, hi. Is it? This is
Hi.
why I love you guys. You guys had that I was down and
so Abby.
immediate guys. And a massive thanks to Ron because I told Ron, I said, Ron, I don't think I can do this show. I don't think I have the energy. He was like, don't worry. This is why we are a team. Don't worry, I'll call our people.
Yeah. He's been doing all the
Hey,
calling. So
Bablo, he did all the calling. That's the thing. And he himself was not well, oh. This
yeah, I told
man,
me.
hmm, he was not well, oh.
He told
Hey,
me.
I don't know how he does it. Hey, Bablo. Ẹ̀yin
Madam,
tèmi
madam.
báwo ni o? Ẹ wà. I'm trying not to move too much, but I'm so excited to see all of you. So when I
What's wrong,
move, then my
Abby?
my head reminds me that you want to miss me.
What's wrong with you?
My
Abilicious. Good
sister, I
evening,
don't
everybody.
like
Good
the
evening. Good
last time.
evening.
Good evening, my people.
Is it my
Because
internet
when I
just
where,
have
giving or
when
hers?
I have fibro
where is
flares, when I have
where is
flare
Raj?
ups,
Where is Raj the tailor? The one with the tape rule.
eh? What did he say?
He said, where is the tailor?
The man with the tape rule.
Suradi
The man with
Taylor
the tape rule. Ah, how
is
is
not
the
using
internet
anything.
today?
Hmm?
I said your internet is going back and forth.
I was going to dressmaking school.
Was an interesting
Suradi
discussion. I
Taylor
was just
is
like,
now your girl. Oh. If you see the dress that I made and the jackets, you go fear.
yeah, we catch us.
It's good now. It's
So
always good to learn a new
what's the
skill.
topic of the day? I just
So what's the topic of the
I'm
day?
giving to
That's a big
Harrods to sell
question.
to three people for 12,000 naira and 10,000 pounds. Eh?
sorry. What
What's
are
the
We
you
are
topic
guys
of today? What are we
Virginity.
discussing today?
at the pick of
Virginity.
first.
You guys are
So,
discussing something, aren't you?
so
The topic of the
if
day
I
is
saw
virginity before
anything now,
marriage.
I am taking and they are going to be paying me 2,000 pounds, 2,500 pounds. Don't try me, oh. They are calling me Suradi
Okay.
Taylor.
We avenge you. We
You are going
avenge
to come back
you.
and recant on that name.
Enuka, were you trying to reach the topic of the day?
Yes.
Okay, go on then.
Hold on. I've left the group. It's virginity before marriage. Remember that.
Okay.
Oh, the topic, ba. Wait, you know what? I think I
Yeah,
might
what's
have
the
to
topic?
switch off this phone after all. Give me a moment.
Yes, virginity before marriage. What happened?
You know what? I'm
Wow.
so sorry. I'm so weak that I have to use my walking stick. I've not used my walking stick in a long time. I'm so
So let
weak
me
that I have to use it. So just give me a moment.
Hello?
Come on.
Wow,
Man,
you
I'll
have
be
to
so
clap for
kind to
yourself.
you tonight.
I've been
Oh my god.
battling with Instagram. I'm supposed to go live on Instagram. It's been hell.
Oh,
It's
don't
been hell.
worry. You will get there.
Yeah, I'm still battling with it.
All right. So we're about to start what the topic is before Habby stood up. So if you tell us
Okay.
what the topic is, if you can read it to us, and then we can crack on whilst we're still waiting for Habby.
Okay, I'll just drop the topic. Virginity before
Okay.
marriage. What
Okay.
happened?
What
Okay.
what what what?
What do you mean by
So
what
let's see.
happened?
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
what I was going to say. That what is what happened?
oh, yeah, it was a requirement before.
How was the requirement? Were you born then?
Were you? And you can be
Ancestors.
coming down now.
My,
How
my
can I become?
ancestors were my
Your
ancestors
ancestors are what?
were my ancestors were
Colleagues,
born
may I start? May I
So
start?
okay.
virginity before marriage. What happened? So what
Yeah.
happens that it has changed, or what happens that what?
Yeah, why is it no longer required or why is it being looked down upon?
What is the significance of it in the first instance? Did we know?
No, just go ahead. That's why we're here. We need to
Okay.
discuss it.
Anuka, yeah, okay, go on then.
I like
Anuka,
how he
what is
came
it?
up with this his assumption that it used to be like that in the olden days. Let me discuss this from an Igbo woman's point of view. Because this
Oh,
my brother
gee.
only understands where we start with Igbo woman.
Mm-hmm.
Brother, why do you think that's Igbo culture of when you have a child being when you're unmarried, the child is your father's child? What do you think it stands for?
No, no,
What do
we've
you
not
think it
started
stands
the
for?
time. We've
The
not started debate
tradition.
now.
No, we have started. Oh. Me and you,
Okay.
we have started because you like to pick all these topics, and you now want to come and pretend as if you're a gentleman. Why do you think that
It's gentle
tradition
Uh,
today.
I'm a
is there?
gentleman, original.
And I'm
To
slim.
attack
And
us,
I'm
I want
slim.
to take attack. But before we
You, why do you think that tradition
Okay,
exists?
okay. You know what? Just give us your own narrative. Then we move around.
We
Then
can
we'll
do it.
No,
start.
no. I'm not giving a
Enuka
narrative. I
now,
want you.
Enuka. You know today,
play,
they are going to cut
because
him some slack.
everyone, can
You
you
know they're
hear
still
me?
going to talk. You
Okay, let me be
you
nice to
have
him.
be
Let
nice,
me be
please.
nice to him. See,
Okay.
Okay, so please,
Our
guys, I know
forebears.
that we are all going to wait now, man. Now wait. I know that we are all going to attack Ron at some point in time, but can we please just give him a round of applause because he honestly doesn't get his flowers. This guy really, really works hard for this show. He works hard
Ah,
for this show. So,
Don't
and
let
he,
it
And
you
he's
get
know,
the
about to clap
swelling.
for
Oh.
himself.
in
oh,
spite of his own health, though, this guy
He has
was,
clapped for himself already.
I'm already
but let's
already
clap
done the
for him.
clapping. Should I
Let's
start the
clap
clap
for
first?
him. Let's clap for him. Well done, him.
Well done, well done.
Oh yeah, let us. Uh, you know you always
You
spoil
see?
things.
Oh my,
Finish
you go
your
charge.
what that about. Continue.
Oh my days. It's so
Guns
Have
and
you
extra.
finished?
businessmen
Oh yeah,
who have
everybody that
found
wants to
that
attack, run. Ready,
Oh yeah,
steady, go.
attack.
At the point of, well, not really attacking him, but it makes me laugh when people come out to make this statement about virginity and all
And the
whatnot.
olden days, I was not there. Oh.
Not only was he not there, they
mm,
don't even understand why certain traditions are being done. In Igbo land,
well,
if a woman has a child without being married, the child belongs to her father. Do you think that they came up with that tradition because it wasn't something that was happening regularly?
I wonder.
mm.
That's
Question
all I
mark.
have to say.
No, and
After
do
All
the
you
right,
question.
know, because
technical.
we are talking about virginity, so if we go through time, even in the time of the Greeks and the Romans, in their temples where they go to worship, they actually have temple prostitutes where when you go and worship your god, a part of worship is you will sleep with a prostitute, no matter whether you're a man or a woman. Then during the Roman times, a woman at least once in her lifetime had to go to the temple and stay there. What? You don't like to hear things like that. Go and read this. Go and do your research.
The
And
That's
funny
teapot.
enough,
that's
I
something.
was doing this research for college just last week. I didn't even know that we were going to do this topic. I was doing
You
this
see?
research for college last week. In a
Okay,
woman's lifetime, will you let me
greatness is
speak?
here.
Hey,
Yeah.
greatness,
Hey,
China,
greatness.
welcome. Why she was disappeared again? I'm tired for this guy. She will bring
When you
back
went to
yourself
fitness.
here. So during a woman's lifetime, so she would decide when in her lifetime, but in her lifetime, it was required for her to go to the temple. And when she went into that temple, she could not leave until she had serviced strangers as part of her worship. So whether she go as a teenager, or she go as a maiden, or she go as a married woman, or at one point in time in her life she had to go. So this whole concept of virginity, this thing about you're a virgin, blah blah blah, none of that really came up until during the Judaic system, the
Okay.
Judaic belief, where they were coming up with their laws and everything and saying that if a man sleeps with a virgin, the virgin will get killed, like as if the poor virgin has to be slept with or something.
Sorry.
I don't know the exact
So
rules, sha, but
the Judaic system came before the Roman system came before the Judaic.
no, no. It didn't come before. If it did, then why were why were the why were the how do I put it?
But I'm
Why were
worried. Is it
they in
actually
control?
Judaic?
Huh?
Would you actually say it's Judaic?
Well, because it was the group of Israelites now. The Roman
So
the
who
Roman
came
belief
first?
system had always been.
Yeah,
They have
so who
been
came
there
first?
for
Which belief came first now, the Romans or the Jews?
the Romans. All the gods and everything were there before
Okay.
Abraham came and all of that now. Abi? Because he's
The,
shaking
the,
his head as if I'm speaking Greek.
no, is she wrong? You can contest it.
No, let him say now so that we can quickly go
There's,
into our Greek
there's
and
no
come out.
written, there's no written, wait, there's no written oral, a written or oral tradition of Roman lifestyle before Jewish lifestyle. So
That is
you
not
turned yourself
true.
upside down.
Aristotle. All of them, who are they? Aren't they all Greek and Roman philosophers? Weren't they recording their
Uh,
own lifestyles before the
Yes.
Jews?
well,
What is he talking about? He'll be
wait,
asking me one kind thing.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
let's go.
I beg, don't
So
aggravate me. Oh. No, I don't tell them to clap for you.
Aristotle, wait, Akome, can you back your side? So the Aristotle and Co came before Abraham, right? According to you,
What
Eh?
do you mean
according to your
according to her?
I don't know.
according to your
Sometimes you ask me
chronology,
my
hold on.
question.
Just
According
trying.
to
I
your
think he's just
chronology,
trying to get what
Aristotle came
your thoughts are.
And now, which is what I
Aristotle,
said. The
Aristotle came
Roman,
before
uh,
She said
the Greek
the
and the
Romans.
Romans came
Yeah.
before.
I did not have water in my mouth when I spoke. I said the Romans and the
Okay,
Greeks.
finish. I'll
Rod,
still mark
Rod,
your
Rod,
report.
Ella,
Finish.
Ella,
Let's
Ella.
continue the exam.
All
Continue,
right.
because I'll
What
finish.
I was gonna look at this topic from a different perspective, and the perspective is what is the economic viability, or what is the financial implications, or what is the marital or emotional benefit of someone getting married
As
a virgin.
Oh, okay.
So I'm looking at it from the financial point of view. I'm looking at it from the emotional point of view. I'm looking at it, like what is the benefit that
There is no
that we
value to
expect?
the woman financially because
That's
it's
that's
her
that's
father. It's her father that trades off on her virginity, not her. It's her father that
okay.
does that. So there's no
But people,
financial value to herself.
okay. But
The only thing
people
that they tell
now,
her to boost her is that they
uh-huh.
tell her that you can
you be
always
the
boast
pride of
that
your husband.
you be the pride of your
So
husband. Episode according to
yeah, for me, I don't have a problem with those people that were doing it in the back in the days. Yeah, I have a problem when we can't question information, when we can't question why my mommy will put 3 Maggi in the soup, and I can still put 1 Maggi in the soup and it still tastes nice.
I
So
wonder.
why is my mom using 3 Maggi? I can't ask my mom. I can't ask that. Oh, why are you using 3 Maggi? You can do this thing better and probably faster. Do you get what I mean? So at the end of the day, I'm waiting for that one night that somebody's going to prove something. At the end of the day, so many of these. Let me just breathe in before somebody's watching this and say, "What's Abby saying now? Go and marry 2 minutes into me and say, because you are want to be virgin and all that, and you get frustrated at the end of the day."
Are
So
we streaming
this thing,
on it? So sorry, Happy.
yeah.
Rod, are we live on YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, Abby.
So no. So at the end of the day, that's the way I'm going to look at it. That is there any emotional benefit for this? What do you gain by being a virgin before you get married? Now I know religious context, so if you want to bring that, because if you ask a small child, even somebody that is a pagan, ask them that question and say, "Oh, why should this?" Even if the Bible not say that, is the Bible applicable to a pagan? The answer is no. So if you
No.
want to talk exactly, make it echo now.
Who is
So
Sorry, that's
repeating?
me. Sorry, that's me
eh?
in error.
Okay.
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 So
Okay.
if you want to
No, but
go for
Christians behave as if the whole world is ruled by their book and their book
exactly, but
alone.
there are some people even in ignorance will still say this. I think I was watching something yesterday that is free. I think was asking a question about women, and sorry to digress, it was asking a question about women going on with their name and maybe having like a double barrel name, their father's name, and their husband's name. And the guy just called and he was just saying, "Oh, because that's how we always be." And this is
Eh.
and this is the average mentality that because they've been doing this in 100 years, this is how it should be. Because my great grandfather has done it, but why are they doing it? What is the benefit? Those are my questions. If somebody can tell me the benefit, why not? If not, if somebody can tell me that okay, if I get it, it means that my husband will never leave me. Okay, what if I want to leave the man? So those are questions that needs to be answered. It doesn't have to be the other way around. I might want to leave the man might want to leave me with that way, but I'm the one carrying the virginity or whatever. What is the economic viability? What is the emotional benefit? Right.
You see, did you see the picture I put down? It reminds me of this nursery rhyme we were doing in primary school. Three blind mice. See, when Abby was arguing, people were supporting her. Yes, yes, Ella.
Nobody
The people
was
you
supporting anybody. But
wait.
you were asking
Wait.
a question I was like, what exactly is your question?
My
Because
point is, hold on. I didn't want
mm,
to argue with you because I just didn't want you to prolong it. The point is, well, that research you did by foundation is already flawed and is upside down. The Jews came before any Roman or Greek, whatever. I just showed you Aristotle that you used as an example. There's almost 2,000 years between him and Abraham. Almost 2,000 years. And yet you said they came before Abraham. He came like
because Aristotle,
almost
because
1,000 years
Abraham
later.
came before Aristotle doesn't mean that Abraham came before. So only Jews were on the earth
Oh,
for 2,000
listen,
years.
listen. You need
Other
to understand
cultures
how.
were not there.
Wait, you need to understand. Especially in Europe. Let me take short history class, especially in Europe.
No, short nonsense
Kingdoms,
class,
wait,
but continue.
hold on. Kingdoms developed over time. All these countries you think you know, they were not existing before. They were just mad,
It was
enter,
all
grow,
Jewish people. Wow.
okay.
aka Ron.
So now that you know that your research is faulty, now let's
My
proceed.
research isn't faulty.
Um,
Aristotle is one person in the time of, is it Roman or Greek history? Is one
okay,
person.
find me
But
another
there are people
person. Find me
before
another
him.
person.
I'm not going to find
Yes.
another person. But that's in that
Just
time, did women have to, at a period of time, go to the temple? Yes. And there's
good.
no way you will ever be able to convince me that on the earth, excuse me,
Show me one.
that on the earth
Please,
for 2000 and something years, it was only Jewish people that were on the earth. It's not possible.
I didn't say they were
Before
the only ones. I'm
Abraham
just saying that.
came, wait,
I,
before
I think I
Abraham
think
came,
I think I think the
did the
old
Tower of Babel happen before Abraham came?
Abby, I think the whole point is not even who came first or who came second. I think it's all about the fact that what they were doing at that time. That's what you were trying to champion. So the fact that
Good.
you probably said this one came before that one is, if we are not looking for wrong or right,
Okay.
we are looking for the
Okay.
context.
Uh,
Do
as Abby
you
finished. Okay. Whose turn was it? Before I chime in, whose turn was it? So that I can.
okay. Do you want to say something? Go ahead if you want to talk.
Uh,
Right.
so So now let's get to the nitty gritty of things. The reason why I felt
So
Okay.
basically, you interrupted her because you wanted to talk.
no,
Abby,
basically I
finish
need to
what you were
explain.
saying.
Abby has finished now.
No, she hadn't
So
finished.
Abby
You
has,
interrupted her.
so so all I was
When
trying
I
to
told him
say,
that he would say,
Ron,
Mhm.
all I was trying to say is this.
Yeah.
I'm sure you understand this from this perspective that the whole point we're saying is this. If based on what you want to say next, which I'm going to be quiet in a bit so that you can talk, is that for
Mhm.
this talk to make sense, is that for you to explain to our viewers or the people that are going to watch after this show that for somebody to be a virgin, aside from you reading in the spiritual books, yeah, what what are the benefits? Not just to the man, or but to both sides, both the men and the women. I don't know. Okay,
because is
I
it
wasn't a
virginity
virgin.
for both sides, by the way?
Yeah, but the men are exempt for virgin. When they say virgin, the women they are talking about, the men are usually
Eh.
exempted. Yeah. When they say virgin, if they say maybe we'll start saying he virgin, she virgin. Maybe that would make sense. But as soon as they say virgin
Abby,
like this,
we have name for everything these days.
uh,
Old boys club.
what's this face? What's this face? He virgin.
I want you,
So
Baji.
He virgin. Our
I
virgin.
think
Oh, there you.
Ogaka
So
came at the nick of
Yeah, I
at
time,
did
the
that came to look
right
for my
time, yeah,
trouble.
he came at the night time. He virgin,
right
she
time.
virgin. If you want to talk
Okay.
about that, but naturally, when people say virgin, they are talking about a female. literally a female. But we can break it down on this show and say there was a he virgin and there's a she virgin. Usually, he virgin are always exempted, and the she virgin are the one that are expected to, be virgin all through. Me, I still have questions about
Okay.
virginity. Maybe kissing and all of those
Um,
things. Maybe are not part of virginity. Afterwards, I'll let you go. Go on then, Ron.
oh yeah, Oga Kayode, please chime in. Hello, is it not
What?
hearing? Hello,
What?
hello.
Hello,
Can
Okay,
can
you
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 hear
hear
can.
me?
us?
Yeah,
Eh,
yeah.
hello?
Okay, you can chime in. Yes, you can chime in.
I never, I don't know what they talk. Oh.
No,
Really?
okay. We are discussing virginity before
Put the
marriage.
topic
So,
across now.
Oh,
we
okay.
are discussing virginity before marriage. What happened?
Yes.
So the
Which
ladies
one
here
is
are
what
really.
happened?
They
Wait.
are really what?
The ladies here
Yes,
are really enraged about the topic, and we're looking for a way
Why
to
do you like to
assuage
claim
them.
we're enraged?
enraged is a very
Why
big,
why
Give
why
us
why why
strong
why are
word.
you spreading
The
false
first
gist?
question that I
Okay.
have is, uh, this thing, is it applicable only to women?
Ataya.
No.
Because
No.
if I remember, I suffered because of this particular thing. So is it applicable only? Otherwise, I cheated myself. Is it applicable
Well,
to women?
we would like to
That,
hear
that,
what
that,
your
that, that's
experience
what
is.
we are saying before you called now, because we are
Yeah.
saying that is it male virgin or female virgin, or just when they say
Everybody.
virgin, it's women.
No,
Everybody.
because that rule came from, the church, right? I don't, well, or
Yes,
Exactly.
sir.
Now
let me
them
say,
na
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
but exactly. But if it is there, then it's applied to both, as far as I remember.
No,
You should
even
be.
before the church.
Eh?
Even before the church. It's
Oh,
always been there,
before?
even before the church.
What do you mean
Yeah.
by it's always been there? By
Okay.
whom?
Okay, that's true. Some actually, now that he says it, I realize some traditions had that. I don't know if it applied
Which
to the
traditions?
Nigerian. Actually, the stories I heard was
All over Africa,
more like Middle East. That's
Africa, Europe.
those, those are the stories I heard. I don't know about our local, but I know, yeah, I don't know about our own culture. Now that
It
now I'm
could
thinking
be.
about
It
it, and I
could
can't.
be because I know that when people get married, they go and stay outside and be waiting that they see blood, they did not see blood,
When did
and
that
all of
start?
that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know all of those things.
You see, that's why
Actually,
But I
I'm
know.
wary. We didn't
actually,
used to write
because
our own tradition. We didn't used to
because
write our
But
traditions, our beliefs. So why are we quick to? Why do we assume it actually
allow
happened in
Oga
the past?
Okay, allow Oga Kayode. We are going turn by turn. Let him finish.
okay,
Come back.
so it applied to, I guess it applied to both parties, to say the truth. But then, the thing with humans is that as much as you try to hold people back from using their experiences to judge their present and their future, humans are just wired to basically take their experiences and learn from it. That's actually why we're uniquely superhuman compared with other animals, right? We are always learning, and then we're improving. That's the way we're designed from scratch. So why I give that, why I say that specifically is because over time you start to realize that there's been a lot of fraud when it comes to this whole virginity thing, right? In the same context in which it was given, if we go by religion, that context also said you were not to test drive at all, that it was illegal, but that you were to sign a life contract, and that whatever you meet inside that package is yours to manage for the rest of your
Yeah.
life, right? And so people followed that blindly. And over time, people started to realize that it might have been a bad idea for them to have been the ones to follow it. Because, first of all, you open the package, and basically it was just, it
Empty.
was, the best way to describe it is it was just fraudulent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was complete
I like the
fraud.
way hey, can I say something? I like the way
Yeah,
that you sum it up, like fraudulent,
yeah,
rather
it's
than
it's
any
it's
other
fraudulent.
word.
It's fraudulent because they portrayed when they were very, 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 very
Mm-hmm.
aware that they had Z. right?
God damn it.
Yeah, and so over that, over time, people, more and more people actually struggle with that whole, especially people struggle with the whole idea that do not test drive, sign a life contract, and whatever you meet there is yours to keep. It's still
Night
a
market.
struggle. It's a
Night
struggle.
markets.
Yeah,
Night markets.
it's a struggle. And if you once you enforce that rigidly, you find that more and more people will pull back from it, because the alternative, if you want to follow it according to that law, so because it's a law within religion, right? But if you want to follow it within that law, the law also allows you to just not even venture into that contract at all.
Hello.
And
Mhm.
so what you find is that it's probably, for some, it's better for them not to go there. Although again, see, now comes the pressure of trying to force you to go into something that you already feel uncomfortable about, because you just don't you
Exactly.
there is no other thing in your whole life until this point in time that they've made
You
you
have to
to
do.
sign a life contract without parole, right? For the rest of your life, for something that you do not know what's in there. So there are some people who are wired to take risk. They can jump into this easily. But some people are naturally wired to not take risk. They're risk averse. Is that the correct word? They
Yes,
just,
risk
yeah,
adverse. Yeah.
it always makes them anxious, right? Not knowing
Yeah.
what.
I'm
So
very risk adverse. It makes
be-
me
be-
very anxious.
and that's how they are naturally wired, because there's some people, basically, if you have something to do, they want to see that there's a plan in place,
Hey, Bookie.
right?
Oh,
Really?
it's so nice to see your face. I thought you were scared off.
Laughing. No, they made up. She and Bumi artiste are made up, so don't worry.
Yay! I'm
Hello.
so
Yes,
happy.
we
Yes.
can.
Hi everyone. Sorry I'm
Hi,
late.
good evening.
Hi.
Yeah, it's all right.
Right?
Kayode, you know this thing you're saying, yeah? Let me tell you. You
Hello.
excuse me.
Bele.
Easy.
Thank you. You see, like a lot of people when they started off this whole oh you must be a virgin, that kind of thing. What a lot of people forget is that women talk. So a woman will enter marriage. She's single, no touching, nothing, everything. She go and marry. She now marry Omodirin, those tiny ones like this, Omodirin. She
Ah,
married that one. But because that's the only one she knows, she will be staying with him thinking
your
that
love.
the guy will come and do shuku shuku shuku. Ah, wasn't I wonderful? Yes, you were. Like that. Then the man will not die, because most of the time, remember, in those days too, they used to marry them 10, 15 years, 20 years older than the girl. So definitely the man will die. Then she'll not remarry. But now she'll not marry Okporo. And Okporo, who knows how to learn Ale. Hey. She will now go and tell her fellow women, be like, yay, I
I
have
mean, do
been
you know
suffering.
there are younger people here? Seriously, calm down.
What? I didn't say anything now. I said it's wait, this is an adult program. We purposely put
Easy,
it as
this
Did
is
I tell
adult
you I'm
program.
an
It's not
adult?
for
2
Did I
plus
tell
children.
you I'm an
18.
adult?
2 plus
It's not for
18.
children.
Did I tell you I'm an
So she will
adult?
not go and tell her friends that, yay, I shall have been suffering since. You see that man that was with, yeah. She did not have anything, but you see this my new husband. So
Jesus
those ones too
Lord.
will now go home. They'll not be looking at their husband like they'll be asking her, describe it how. How is it? It's like this, it's like that. They'll not go
For movie.
home. Mr.
I mean, I
Mr.
finished writing the
What
script.
will now
Nollywood is
Papa,
calling
Mr.
you.
What it will not be coming to all
we
this
have
wife. It's not just like will you get lost? Please, when are you dying? I beg Biko.
Die and let's leave.
Die, let's me live. And because
Interesting.
even today, you will hear women prescribing a guy to another woman, say, that guy, that guy is serious one in town. So if women today have no problems prescribing men to each other, imagine back then now. They will be like, well, so after some time, as time goes now, women will be like, I should go and buy night markets, then be stuck with a more or less. Not me and you.
Yeah, I
Cookie
think
wants
when
to die
people,
with laughter.
I think when people generally, if they are following religion now, with exception,
I
if
wasn't
they are
confident
following
for you. Don't
religion,
laugh.
if they are following religion to a fault, then they will follow the precepts of religion. Now, I used to have a friend in one of the places that I've worked long time ago. The guy said to me, he said, "Oh, Happy, does it make sense? I'm fasting." And when he wasn't a Muslim, but he wanted to become a Muslim. So he wanted to start from the time of fasting. And then when it was time for them to break, so he was looking at the, I don't know what they're looking, the sky or the, apologies if you're a Muslim here, I don't know. I'm supposed to know because I have a Muslim name, by the way. And then he was looking at the sky or the moon or wherever that they look at before they break their fast. And so he was following according to what was written in the Quran. And when he finished there, he now told the colleagues at work to say that this is how he broke his fast and all that. They said to him, "No, that's not the way he's supposed to do it. That he's meant to wait for somebody in Mecca or whatever to say it's now time for them to break before they broke the fast." So what he now came up with, it was really angry. It was like, "No, these people are crap. Why would I be doing this?" I said, "See, as long as you want to follow religion, there has to be a rule, there has to be law. So if you're under religion, if you're under all those things, I'm sorry, if this is what you're watching today, you have to do your virginity before marriage." It's only children that have gone haywire that are saying they are not going to follow. So if you are still there, continue your thing because you can't cherry pick. You can't say, "Oh, I'm not going to be a virgin," and then you go and do something. No, stay there and do it the way that they say you should do it. But if you are all
Abby,
these kind of people, you can then say, "No, I'm not going to do it." So sorry, that's all I'm just saying.
Abby, going back to what you've just said now, and please, Muslims don't come for me. I have Muslim cousins. In my family we intermarry, so I have Muslim family everywhere. But
Mine does, yeah.
I was watching a movie, these Yoruba home videos. I was watching one with some guest of mine yesterday, and there was a situation that came up and they had to call on an imam, and the imam was like, "No, no, no, no," he was saying all the whatever whatever, and I said to the lady, I said, "Do you realize that, number one, he doesn't even know what he's saying, he's just repeating some Arabic words, but if he stood in front of a proper Arabic and said those words, the Arabic would be looking at him like, what are you saying?"
Proper Arab.
Because it's like, it won't even cohere. And it's not that I'm saying this out of a vacuum. I've actually seen it. I was watching something, and they played one of these Nollywood whatever, and they were like, "Oh, he's speaking Arabic," and the Arabic guy was like, "No, he's not. He's not speaking Arabic. I don't know what he's speaking, but it's definitely not Arabic." So sometimes we do things in religion, we go and recite things, and when the real people who speak the language actually hear what you're saying, is nothing to what they are saying, means not, you can't even hold a conversation with them in that language for all the learning you've done. And these are all things that we do in the name of religion. So sometimes if you want to follow religion, you
Follow
just
it.
have to either accept that you're going to do it blindly and just, don't
Then
even
buy
ask
night
any
market.
questions. Yeah, don't ask any questions, just do whatever you're told, and
That's good.
so be it, so be it. But
Actually,
if
but
you're going,
there are other religions also, even
oh, Candy,
the traditional, the traditional
Okay.
religions also.
Mhm.
Basically, some of them require that the woman is. So it's not just one.
Some of them
It
require
can
that
be
what?
that
That's
the
why
woman
I
is
said that
a
any
virgin. Yeah,
religion,
yeah,
yeah, any
exactly.
like,
religion
Because
that you're following.
yeah, exactly. Just to put that out there so that it's not like it's just one
I don't.
they're
Which
considering.
No,
traditional
it's
religion
not
are you
Muslim,
speaking
it's not
about?
Christian, any kind of
Exactly.
religion, maybe some
Candy.
traditionalists or
Yes, that is
something.
true. Some
You
Ifa,
said
traditionalists.
maybe,
Okay.
but which one?
what of that
Are
one?
you? No,
If,
no, I'm sorry. You just said if. Are you sure that is what they sell? Are you sure that they tell
no,
you that
they,
you
they
have to be a
want they
virgin?
want they want purity. They want purity. And they
So I
believe
don't know.
that
I don't know.
sexual
I
they
don't know
want
about.
purity,
No,
and they
I don't know
believe
if
the
it's
sexual
virginity.
intercourse.
Yeah, not virginity
I've
before marriage,
made
but I know that
sense.
once you're married, that I know you can't step out. You know that basically there's a
No,
consequence for
That's a
stepping
no,
out.
because
commitment you made now.
no, because theirs,
Excuse me.
when it comes to traditionalists and all of that, theirs is kind of, it's like a law and order. Maybe Christianity and Muslim people can still be bending. Who knows? They say, God is there. I can ask for grace and all of that. But theirs is law and amen. So if they say that don't do this, you can't do it because you already know they'll tell you the consequence before you do it. So it's
Yeah.
either you stick to it or you go out of it. It doesn't. They don't have time. If you have the whatever to go back and forth, they would have told you that if you do it, oh, this is the way,
Excuse
this
me.
is the error, this is the error. They would have told you. And if they tell you is no, don't bother, because that's why some people say some politicians they can't go and use all of those things to swear because they know that one is not a god of the waiting time and all
The
that.
thing,
That's our
the
own
thing will
tiwantiwa.
kill them on the spot before they even can
Exactly.
climb
So
down.
they can't do that. And with that, if you are doing that because they
Do
believe
you know
that
the
the
people
god,
who are terrified of juju the most? Do you know the people who are terrified of juju the most? Religious people.
yeah, how
It's
did they
true.
start this
Go and
video
tell
game?
any of these people now, any of these politicians that are using Quran and Bible to swear. Tell them that, oh yeah, I'll carry shopona and swear. For where they will
They
clear,
won't
you will
do
see
it.
them.
Yeah, because they know that those ones they are very serious. And with that one, if someone says that you want to go and swear that you want to get married to someone, and they take that person to in front of the shopona,
Is
that okay,
Amasia Hayome?
you are swearing
Amasia
that
her joking stuffs.
you understand that you're
So,
swearing in
what,
front of this God that you won't cheat. That man dare not cheat. He knows what will happen. They won't tell him the consequences after. They will tell him before he does it. So that he
okay,
will know that, sorry?
sorry. Kayode hasn't finished. It was
Okay, sorry, Kayode. We are just taking his
so
conversation. Sorry, Kayode.
after Kayode, we'll move to Buki, then
Okay.
we'll move to
Let
Candy.
Buki then
Mr.
Candy.
Kayode is
Oh,
just
you're
laughing.
not
Go on.
ready. Okay. Oh, okay.
So all
Kayode,
right.
finish.
So what I was saying, and I forgot what I was
Sorry.
saying actually.
So
But what I was
Before
sorry.
you
saying,
before you were unceremoniously off stage. So let's get
so
back to what you were saying.
so what I was saying was that the I think it always applied to both parties, the male and the female. Said, but it's unfortunate that it's about the only contract that they make you sign. And a lot of people also remember that it's sometimes in your 20s that they tell you that you're ready to do this thing. So this is the first time you're signing a major contract in your life for a lot of people. And it's a life contract, and that you can never get out of it, right? And that you must not check what's in there. You must, I mean, the interesting thing is that I according to this rule or according to this contract, you are supposed to kiss your spouse for the first time ever in church. In church,
In the
when
presence of people.
yes, that's supposed to be your first time experiencing the kiss, talk less of any other thing, right?
Holy kiss, oh.
Yes, that's the first time you're supposed
So
to
that's
And
actually
that's why you see
experience
some
that.
people kiss like this.
Yes, because they've been waiting.
Abdi.
So now, and if you just take that, if you take the fact that they've been waiting for that long, imagine the excitement, and then imagine the disappointment if at the end of the day
Imagine.
you find out that you are not
You have that
a
lick on your
match
face.
at all on the side of either the male of the person who is playing the role of the husband or the wife, right? And the thought that you can never get out of this forever
That's why
until
you
you
see some
die,
people be stronging face at reception.
until
Abby now.
until death,
I'm sorry.
until death,
Continue, Kayode.
until death do you part. This is the thing. So what now happens is that, and you see, it's the people become conflicted because of it. So the religion you cannot drop. It's also taught you that you have to follow it 100%. That a fail in one is a fail in all, right? And so people are really, really conflicted going into this thing, right? And so you see a lot of people who are not able to talk about it either. Because once you signed it, you're not even allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to say, I checked the package, I feel defrauded. And so
I want a refund.
yeah, I want a refund, right? Some tell you can annul the thing within 24 hours or something like that. Something, there's some give you that clause to annul. They say it's not a, interestingly, that is not considered a divorce. It's considered, they have to use another word to describe it because divorce is not an option in some. So it's really, it's slippery because you're not supposed to be logical about it. Yet what you are signing up for the rest of your life is mostly logical alongside with the emotion. So I'll just leave it like that. So the thing applied to both parties is the key thing. Summary. People are conflicted about how to go about it, and so there's a clause. There's a clause in that religious law coming to the Bible, because that's the one I know well. There's the forgiveness that some people say
9 times 9.
Yes, exactly. So some people basically use that forgiveness clause to test the package, right? And then ask for forgiveness before or after.
But that's deliberate sin now.
Yes, so some people
for deliberate sin.
Is there any place in the Bible
Always.
that condemns deliberate sin?
There is none, actually. But then you see what Abby said is what is used against people who try to exercise that clause in the same circle. So it's a lot. It's very complicated. It's very complex, and I feel sorry for those who, because it's a state of mind that is difficult to. You can't snap somebody out of it. People will give their lives for the belief that they are doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So it's not just a let me speak some sense into you. You can't even beat at gunpoint. People will still hold on to this thing. So it's deeper than just say, oh yeah, just follow it. Whatever happens to you happens to you. It's a real thing, that I don't know what the correct answer is. I don't know what the correct thing is. I just know that it's tough on people who are trying to do this thing 100%. Let me stop there.
Thank you, Kay. But I know it's someone else that is talking. Kay, I have a question for you after. Just remind me. I'll write it down.
Okay.
So, Bookie, yes, your thoughts. You're muted, Ron. You're muted.
I
beg to differ with the gentleman's opinion about it being tough, simply because first of all, if it's something that you're serious about, as far as the religion goes, and you trust in a concept and you trust in the person that you're believing in, and you follow the directions that are given to you, then you're not likely to fail. The problem comes in the inability to separate from the ideas of the world, and from a religious standpoint, that is where the problem is. If you're able to separate from the things of the world, because the world equips you with knowledge that is counteractive to what the religious world is teaching you. So for people that practice it in the right way, they will experience success in it. And echoing what the lady was saying, if you don't have any prior knowledge of anything, you will be satisfied with what you have. The problem is people are exposed to sin, and they've gotten comfortable with sin and doing things the way the world prescribes. And so this is where, when the struggle comes in. If you've not had sugar, you won't know what sugar tastes like. You would be happy with salt, so it's just a case of, if you prescribe to the religion the way you are supposed to, then you won't have difficulty in experiencing success in it.
I just put up my hand now. Now, wow. Please continue.
Yeah. But it's good try and wait till marriage, simply because sex opens up a world between two people that is reserved for marriage. And when you're experiencing that before marriage, it can interfere with the process of you actually getting to know somebody properly. How can I say? Sex opens up the emotions. Sex opens up, you know, a lot of, you know, how can I say? Um, if you can abstain from sex while getting to know somebody, then you have a better chance of getting to know the person, absent the emotions that come with sex, and you can think a lot more clearly to know somebody and do your due diligence. The problem we have today is people meet within hours, within days. They are doing the most intimate thing that two people can share in life, and once that happens, you know, then you're doing things in reverse. But we're comfortable with it, you know. Our society is comfortable with it, so it makes it very, very hard for those trying to.
See now, when I was giving my own comments, he shouted at me. Look at what he's doing now.
Oh
We are
my
finished.
god,
I
sorry, that's
almost
it.
lost
I
it.
think you get the
Bookie,
gist of what
finish.
I'm trying to say.
Bookie,
Yeah.
finish, please. I'm not listening to you. Bookie,
No, I
finish.
think I hope you're getting the gist of what I'm trying to say. A lot of
Yeah,
people
we,
would
we
say
are
that's
getting it. I have questions for you, but
that's
finish.
a holier than thou perspective. But I'm a Christian. I'm a strong believing Christian, and um, I do my best to follow the teachings of God because I believe in them, and I've been a Christian since I was 16 years old, and it's always worked for me. That's not to say that I've not made mistakes and I've not learned from them, but the prescription for me works.
Okay, may I ask you some questions, please? Okay, number one question: what is this obsession with sex and religion's obsession with sex? That's number one. Number two, is the entire world judged by the Bible? Every single person on the planet judged by this one book? Because
Okay.
not everybody on the world, not everybody in the planet is a Christian. So to then say that, oh, we all should subscribe by this one book,
Well, no,
because
the Christianity doesn't say that at all. Perhaps it's the
well,
people
that way
listening.
I'm asking that because when you speak to the average Christian, they're like, oh, the Bible says that, but they're Muslims, they don't believe in the Bible. They're Sikhs, they're Buddhists, they're
Well,
atheists. They're
the thing is, I
so
think it's the
That's a totally
people.
different. That's off topic.
Hold on.
That's
I
a
think it's the
wait
people.
now. Let me
It's the
wait. I'm asking how she feels is up topic. Should tell me. Then number
I
three question. Number three question is, when we're talking about people having sex and that kind of stuff, you said, oh, that they have clarity of mind. If you're with someone that you like and everything, there's sexual tension, and you say,
mm,
oh, we're not having sex, we are. Do you seriously think that they're able to concentrate on anything apart from how quickly can I jump this person's bones?
absolutely. I'll start with the final question. I waited 8 months to before I married. I waited to marry before I had sex, and I was with my husband for quite a considerable amount of time. Now, the way I look at it is the priority. The society puts sex on a very high pedestal in terms of what exists between two people. There's a lot more you can know about somebody than sex. Sex should not be the primary thing you desire to learn about somebody. Yes, sexual attraction is there, but you know, the most important thing is knowing who you're with, what kind of character they have, you know, are they a good person, what are you able to achieve and build with them, you know, before you get to the point of knacking. Get to know who the person is. And this is the problem: people are so overwhelmed with sex. People
Thank
get
you, my
so
sister.
carried
I like
away
that you talk it as it is.
people get so carried away with sex that they don't do the due diligence to know who they are with, and then later on relationships break up, and we have all the problems that come as a consequence of that. With the second question, the Bible doesn't tell anybody what to do. The Bible is a set of instruction for those that choose to engage with it. Perhaps the people that listen to it feel judged because, you know, perhaps they have something to feel judged about, but the Bible does not go demanding that everybody, you know, follows it or believes in it. People just feel judged by the content of what's in it. And there isn't a preoccupation with sex and Christianity. Again, it's the world's perception of what is important to them. Because it is restricted according to the Bible, they say that we have a preoccupation with sex. No, the world has a preoccupation with sex, and it can't gel with the concept of self-control, you know,
So
before having
sorry.
sex.
So are you saying now that every Christian virgin that has gotten married every Christian virgin that has followed the Christian tenets and done things the right Christian way and stayed 8 months, 1 year, 2 years, whatever it is, without having sex, all their marriages are successful?
Well, I didn't say that. That's what you're saying, and I
I
don't
was just
know.
asking the
Yeah,
question.
I
Yeah.
don't. Well, no, I've not said that, and there's nobody that's perfect. Because I'm a Christian does not automatically mean that I'm perfect. I have all the same struggles that everyone else has. It's just that I choose to live my life by these sets of principles. That's just it, you know. And again, that there is a huge pressure placed on people and the expectation of having to have sex, and it's a worldly thing, and the Bible discourages it. Why? Because there are consequences. You know, sex breeds children. Children are very important. They are not toys. They're not things. And in you know, in the break of a relationships, it's children that suffer the foolishness that adults, you know, decide to do. You know, they have fun, but the consequences later down the line, it's the children that would suffer, for example. And the next person that has to engage with them from a damaged relationship will suffer that. So there's a lot to it. For me, it's not just, um you know just meet somebody and just have sex with them. There are repercussions that come out of that.
Okay. Candy, thank you very much for your views, Bookie. Very, very interesting, and thank you for answering my questions. So, Candy, I know you're an atheist. You do not subscribe to any
Ha!
religious. Oh,
Are you the one supposed to take? You should not meant to be the one to introduce herself.
So,
what is he talking about? Is it today that we know that Candy is atheist?
Allow Candy to tell us. Why must he be the one telling us?
Okay, I'm an atheist.
Are you happy?
Yeah, welcome, our
flower
beautiful
flower.
You lot are crazy.
Is Candy, honestly, the way I'm feeling, I feel like entering this computer and boxing somebody in the head. You know how well I've been, oh, and it's giving me hypertension. Yeah, continue, my better person.
Anyways, first of all, I apologize for coming on late. It was a really beautiful day today here, so I got off work early and I was taking advantage of the weather outside, and I was in my shop finishing some work, and then anyways, time went by, so I
Yeah,
apologize for
You
coming.
just
are
show
not
us
for
pictures of what you finish.
you are
I'm
not
still working on
forgiven
them.
until I get to
Um,
table.
but so this topic, like you said, like Abby, I mean, like, yeah, like Abby rightly stated, I am an atheist. So I don't necessarily, well, obviously, I don't subscribe to any of these religious, you know, teachings or whatever. Not that I don't have a moral compass. They're two different things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think so. The topic is what? Being a virgin before marriage.
Virginity before marriage. What happened? So we've been
Virginity
talking
Well,
before
about
marriage. Uh,
eh,
I mean, honestly, I don't understand the value that's placed on it. I think there's more to that you bring into a relationship than the fact that you have a hymen that's intact. Um, I don't think
thank you.
I don't think not having not going into a marriage,
If you
not a
interrupt her one more
virgin,
time.
has any basis on what your marriage is going to determine the future of your marriage or the outcome of your marriage. I mean, I certainly was no virgin before I got married. Not to say that I was promiscuous. I didn't have sex till I was about 22. Um, but
Jesus
in,
is Lord.
in between that, I also didn't have that many like sexual partners or whatever before my husband. But I mean, I both of us not being virgins had no impact whatsoever on our relationship and where we are today. And I just think a lot of like religion places too much value on this thing that doesn't say anything about the substance of a person, you know. That's my take on it. I mean, I think each person looks at sex differently, you know. Sex is very different with how each person looks at it. And sex is just, to me, sex is just one of those things that, you know, some people, it's okay if you want to wait, if you want to save it for that person, and then it's okay also if you want to sow your wild oats before you settle down. That's the way I see it.
Okay, Buki.
Okay, so I want to say something. I want to ask you a question. I want to ask a question.
Raise the hand first.
I just wanted to say that you know, with regards to virginity and being a virgin, it's not actually a commandment. It's not a biblical commandment. It's actually something that is cultural. It's as a result of the culture that places emphasis on virginity, not religion, not Christianity. I don't like to use the word religion, because religion is something that man constructed from the Bible.
True.
All right, it's not something, that's not what God told us to do. Religion is our interaction with it, and there's no commandment in the Bible that says a woman must be a virgin before marriage. You know, so essentially the Bible teaches that when a man and a woman do have sex, that is really the seal of marriage. That's what marriage is. But in terms of, I was just picking up on what you said, that, you know, it's religion that places emphasis on virginity. It's not. It's about culture and not religion per se.
Okay, well, I mean, I've like someone stated before, I always find a lot of times when people have always thrown back at me, the Bible says this or the Quran says. I mean, we have people blowing themselves up because they're gonna get 17 virgins.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's all tied together. Culture, religion, all of it. It's all
there's no biblical commandment.
Buki, I'm surprised. Buki, I'm surprised that you're saying that there's no biblical commandment. No, because your Old Testament makes it very clear that if a man should rape a virgin, she gets killed.
Yes, but
she gets not a commandment in the Old Testament. And it's also part.
Yeah, that's not a commandment. That's not a commandment that one must be a virgin before marriage. No, there were virgins at that time. It was more common in their societies that women were innocent before marriage sexually. There's no commandment. There's a difference. Yeah, and that was pertaining to how they lived and their cultural stance at that time. Yes, the scriptures encourage you to try and maintain yourself before marriage, but there's no commandment that is what you must do.
May I ask?
Sorry, I raised my hand up.
They are. I can't find it for you now, but they are.
Okay, wait, Abby, before you ask the question, you said your Old Testament. Are you practicing a vow? What faith are you?
Yes.
Because I need to get clarity. Because you said it does not concern you. You see how Peter denied it? Wait. This is exactly what Peter did. Denied to crucifixion. You see, you just denied because of. Okay, all right.
I didn't deny anything. I did not deny anything. I said
You
yes.
said your
I
own
did say
testament.
your
You
own.
said your
I
own.
did say your own Old Testament. Yes, but I've already told you before. I'm agnostic. I'm still searching. I'm still asking questions. I'm looking back to even my own traditional religion because my own people had their religion before Christians came with their own. So I'm looking at what was so bad about my religion that people had to
Abby,
from somewhere
Come
where
out.
they used
you
it
want
to steal our
you want
people.
Abby, you want to go to the impatient God. I'm sorry for you.
I know it's shame.
Okay, so can I talk
You want
now?
to bam bam.
Ọ̀rọ̀
I
wa
thought
yẹra wa.
Abby, I think you had a
You
question
want to
for me.
bam bam.
Okay,
I want to see with the big boys.
Abby.
okay.
Wait, hang on. I thought Abby had a question for me before Bookie.
The people made me forget the question, Jare.
Okay, I think it's my turn now, right? I haven't spoken. So I'm going to start from the
Go
beginning.
on. Go on, right.
So
Oh
everybody
God
take it.
Almighty.
Please, can we
Everybody
time
retain.
run? Because you know it will take 10 minutes. You should not take
Yeah, and you
10
say history lesson time or one nonsense lesson time. So yes,
Okay,
let's time him. You have
so
5
now
minutes.
let's start from the beginning. Apart from the erroneous statements, everybody keeps saying religion, 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 religion. The entire African continent practiced that culture. The Middle Eastern continent, the entire Middle East practiced that continent. Even the Europe that you're sitting down relaxing, the pre-Victorian time and Elizabethan time, virginity was a very, very, very strong thing. And no, the Greeks and Romans did not come before Judaism. And let me say it very clearly, so that people watching the show don't think we are reading from somebody's stolen exam script. The Greeks did not exist at that
minutes.
time of Abraham. So I'm trying to be harsh here. The Greeks did not exist. Even while Abraham, the father
It did not
of
exist.
Israel, I'm coming, the father of Hebrews, that's the, is it the progenitor of Hebrews? Even before him, other cultures were practicing virginity at that time. Why? There were wars back then, and the ways they used to settle wars was like, oh, okay, I'm going to give you, and sometimes the kings might have like 3 or 5 daughters. He will say, I'm going to give you my virgin daughter to consummate our relationship, our peace agreement. So, and again, remember that even then, marriage aside, the virgin that they go sacrifice and a virgin that they carry go temple, just like Abby said in Rome, is virgins that they carry to the temple to worship whatever Apollos or Venus or whatever god they are worshiping. They take virgins there. Now, it's not limited to women too. It's not limited to women. Men too were required to be virgins. Why do I say so? Can you just imagine in the old days or the Old Testament, somebody will come. Like, how many Bible characters do you actually know that they came with children to marry? Think about it. David, Moses, how many of them? It's
Your point.
if you see now if you see when Moses wanted to even marry his wife from where she was, you see the gathering, the way the daughters were raised, they were moved in a certain way. They were not exposed. Now, okay, let's not go back, it's too far. Now, let's come back to modern time. You see, I like what Buki said about if you don't know how sugar tastes, you think it's salt. And I've been saying this, thank God she's never been here when I've said it before. Sex is not intimacy. And I don't know when people are going to get it into their head. Sex is not intimacy.
What is it?
You're going to keep smashing. Are you going to continue smashing 75, 78, 80, 100 years old if you're alive with your partner? No. Something kicks in. It's called intimacy. And you have to build it now while you're still young. Intimacy is that thing whereby 2 imperfect people meet and they try to navigate through it. Let me accept, let me tolerate, let's see if this person will change. Okay, she didn't change, let me forgive. Let's keep trying. Or let's sleep together. Let's talk. How was work, babe? How was work, Oga? What did you do outside? Tell me about your day. Those things are intimate. Little things like even now, my best movie, Hollywood chick flick of all time is Sleepless in Seattle. I don't know how many people have seen Sleepless in Seattle. I've seen almost all romantic come because I used to be that kind of person before. But Sleepless in Seattle is unique. There's something that happened in Sleepless in Seattle, and it's one of the top 3 chick flicks in the world. They never had sex, and yet the intimacy from the middle part of the movie till the end was so strong and captivating that you never leave the screen. The whole thing was intimate, but there was no sex, there's nothing like that. But they built intimacy that even after the movie ended, you are sure that they are still together, even though it's a movie. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Sex beclouds your judgment, your sense of judgment. I said it in last year too. It beclouds your judgment. Things you are supposed to ordinarily see with clear eyes, you won't see it because you are thinking about how powerful is, how long his third leg is, or how she's screaming, the sound effects she's making. All these things are just distraction. If you marry, as you ladies say, if I carry Mr. Universe and give you to marry because he has muscle, he has a six-pack, he's handsome, he's tall, continue sexing. After a while, everything fades off. So what do you hold on to? It's at that moment you start saying, you don't. I'm coming.
Can I just say something, Ron? The way you're doing this thing, you're saying this thing, you're saying it too in a generic way, and it's really tripping me off. Like,
and it's actually kind of condescending. I'm sorry, it's kind of condescending. Nobody here thinks like sex is intimacy.
Wait, I'm coming.
Exactly. He can't help himself and condescension. He can't help himself.
Allow him
He
to
always
land.
sounds condescending.
Allow him to land. Allow Ron to land, and then you can all have reaction shots.
I did not interrupt all of you when people were making condescending statements.
You did actually.
Okay. I had to because I didn't want people to go out of control. That is true.
You did.
But I'm talking now. So, now, why am I saying this thing emphatically? We need to understand certain things. If a girl that is getting into marriage, now I'll talk about a girl, then I'll talk about a man, 2 different sexes. If a woman going into marriage knows that the first man she's meeting, and we have this encounter, that is what she knows. However they make the love, that is what she knows. Problem comes in when she starts getting information of variable, what's the word? Optional means of doing the same thing she has been doing in her house. You go and meet your friends, is your husband this thing like this? They'll say no. My own is like this, so then from there they say, how does it feel? Then you've now created something into the mind of somebody who ordinarily was none of her business to probe into such things.
I will tell you from just quickly. I'll tell you from experience. My first experience, I didn't have to have experience to know that it was horrible. And throughout the time I was with this, it was horrible. So it has nothing to do with if you're not enjoying it. How are you going to say that you can't tell because you've never done it before? That, if you've never done it, automatically you won't know whether it's good or bad. My first experience was
Sorry.
Horrible, terrible.
I appreciate you interrupting me, but can I ask you a very simple question?
Candy, I apologize on behalf of that person.
Wait,
still upsetting you.
Candy, I'm coming. Candy, before you had sex with that person, did you have any form of information about sex?
Yes. I was 22.
No, but that's exactly what I was just talking about.
Yes. But what do you mean?
We are exposed. That's why I'm just explaining that if you were not exposed to such information,
so you're not supposed to know.
You're not supposed to know that it's supposed to feel good. You should know that you're supposed to get some enjoyment out of it. Okay.
That's because you've chosen to. You see, I'm taking us back to the core. I'm not talking about
this is not
now.
the core. This is the extreme.
But that's what it was. That's what it was.
That's not what. That's the generic information that you're given,
no,
which has its own significance. I can't rule out what you're saying, but the way that you're saying it, that is a generic thing for everybody. There are people who followed all these 4-figure table that you're giving, and they still didn't get it right.
Let me finish. Even here, this country I live in, South Africa, every year they do this Read festival where every family presents a virgin for the ceremony. As modern as South Africa is, and as maybe they say they are wayward, they do that reed festival for virgins. They present them and they check them at that and those ceremonies to know those who are those. I'm coming. I'm just trying to let you know that everything is still based on information. Where are these most of these girls from? Majority of them are in the rural areas who don't have exposure with city life. Do you understand?
shocked.
They are not.
You will
They
be
still have
shocked.
their hymen intact, but they still have their hymens intact. That's my point.
How do you know?
You
Now,
do know that there are many
they
ways your
check
hymen can
them.
go that does not involve
Hey,
sex.
True.
You
True.
people
So
are
that's what I
just
mean. How do you know?
That's the crazy thing. Men put so much value on a woman's hymen, and the hymen is something that is actually very fickle. You could be riding a horse, you could be on a bike, you could do splits, you could do anything, and the hymen goes boom. Then what happens to your virginity? That is so wonderful.
You are correct. I agree with you, but that's not what I'm discussing. Now, I'm saying now we are growing in the modern era.
This kind of
We have
lecturer.
access.
How
We
do
have
you get
access
this?
to.
You know you have
I'm
passed
going
more
to
than your 5 minutes since.
Yeah, you guys are disturbing me. We have access to magazines. We have access to sex magazines. We have access to so-called romantic novels. We have access to television to see all sorts of nonsense. We have music videos we watch every single day. And all these things build up our knowledge in these things we are discussing. If I let people make it even harsh for you, most ancient communities that practice what's their female circumcision, what's
Mutilation.
genital mutilation. The ideas are mostly conceptualized by women and they are enforced by women. Now women are in they carry razor blade like
I say you're not well.
Is it not a programming thing? They are echoing what the men are
I
told.
say it's not well.
I think what he's trying to say. I think what he's trying to say is that the more exposure one has, then the greater the expectation one has.
Yeah, but one cannot go. One cannot be because the society that we are living before is kind of different from the society we are living now, and you can't change it back. You can't change it back. There are things that naturally either you want to know it or you don't want to know it. It comes to you naturally. They teach children different things in school. Some things, if you don't know, you'll be thinking, oh, you're better off not knowing. But also, in a place where people that are knowing it know exactly what to do, you become a novice. So you might decide, in spite of everything, I might decide that I still, people like what Candy said, you can decide not to have sex. It makes no difference. But saying that you don't know is because you're exposed, is because you're this. There are people who are virgins for so long. And still, they got married to virgin. They follow all the Christian precepts that, okay, this is the thing, this is the way to do it. But they still get it wrong. This is what we're saying. Some people will get it right, but it's not, you can't use it as a yardstick for everyone.
Okay.
So sorry, Ron. Can I just respond to that? Yeah. Again, Christianity, the ideologies of Christianity is being blamed for these things. All right. I personally believe that every young woman needs to be properly and adequately educated about sex, about what to expect. It should be an oral tradition that should be passed down, ideally, from mother or the women in the family unit, to translate that information down to the young woman, to prepare her, for what is to happen, that it may be enjoyable, it may be unpleasant, So,
Boogie, did you grow up with a Nigerian mother?
My mom is Nigerian, yes.
So your mom sat you down and gave you oral history. Because me, I remember that the only sexual education I got was if a man touches you and you get pregnant.
But you're not listening to what you're making assumptions off of what I'm saying. I'm saying I believe that the right way would be for a woman to be properly educated, a young woman to be properly educated about what she should expect. You're quite right. When we were growing up, we were just, it wasn't even discussed. We didn't, and perhaps a lot of us went in there and learned and did things the wrong way. And because our mothers, you know, they put up and shut up. We're expected to put up and shut up.
I
And
didn't even get
agree.
to, because unfortunately I was sexually abused from when I was 5. So
No,
I
I'm
didn't even
sorry to
get
hear
to do
that.
any of that nonsense talk. So
Yeah.
there you go. So
And that's another big problem with Nigerian society. Those sorts of things are not regulated. A high percentage of young girls are abused, you know, and they don't have a proper understanding of sex, their bodies, you know, and they go
but
into relationships damaged.
if we are championing the fact that virginity and all of that, if anything of such happens to a child, and maybe the child, let's not even say 5, as young as 5, maybe like 15 or 20, and all we're saying is that you have to be a virgin and all of that, rather than the child seeing the fact that somebody did this to me that I need to report, the first thing that she would think about is that, oh, she's already a failure, because she can't meet up with that particular standard that is already there. The reason you have done what you have done is because you chose to do it. You are happy to do it. You know the process and you decide to do it. And it works for you. And one thing that you have not mentioned is that aside from the physical knowledge that you know of your husband, there's a spiritual knowledge which is not given to everyone. You probably did not mention that it's not given to everyone. So if someone else follows you to do the same thing that you've done, they probably could fall down because they don't have that deep insight of what they are looking at. So you look at somebody physical, forgetting that there are people that even in church, and they are church people, they have all the respect. They're like, God bless you, God bless you. I see a lot of them growing up. God bless you, God bless you. But at the end of the church, there's someone else.
Okay.
They are someone else. So it's deeper than the fact that, oh, because
people can pretend for a long time.
Sorry, Ron, can I just respond? If I don't achieve anything else on this platform tonight, I would just like to impress upon you guys that what people do and people's behavior in the name of religion is not a reflection of religion. We need to understand this. People are imperfect, and when they interact with things, they have a tendency to mess it up. So I'm not saying, and I never have said that, you know, the Christian way is the right way for everybody. I can only speak from that perspective because that's what I know. You speak from your perspective. Everybody speaks from their perspective. It's not to ram it down anybody's throat. But so again, everything surrounds education. Whether we're dealing with somebody that's been abused, they need to be educated to help them heal, you know, and not to be made to feel a failure. You understand? But the problem is, and the way I try to gauge things is, yes, okay, virginity, some people will say is old-fashioned, no problem. But the way I gauge things is in this modern society where everything is okay, is it a better society for it? That's how I try to gauge things, on the result of what we produced from our ideologies, our modern ideas. Are we better off for our sexual freedoms? Are we better off for it? I don't think so.
Are we better off before?
Yes.
Let me finish.
Not really, depending on the spectrum.
In terms of the orderliness of society, in terms of respect,
yeah, because
you know,
people were quiet. Okay, because people were quiet. They never tell you what they're going through.
I don't think it's a case of people were quiet. That's what we in modern times say to try and justify what we have now. You know, it's not so much that people were quiet then. That was their way. They lived with it. They accepted it. They lived with it
because they believe that's the best way for them. So they continue with that. So
okay, but that's not the same as saying that they were in some way, you know, subjugated by that. No, they were happy.
I'm saying that they were happy. You see, we can say somebody that's been abused is happy because the person that has been abused that does not know that they're being abused, they will never know that this is an abuse. So they are happy. So they are happy with it because they can't see I'm just
again,
using an illustration. I'm not generalizing that. I'm just
yeah,
saying that we can't
but again,
say
it
what it
really
is
depends.
before.
It really depends on perspective, because over here we say that, you know, an adult sleeping with a 13-year-old is abuse, whereas in some country a 9-year-old is married and that's their tradition. So it really depends on perspective and how you are looking at things. You know,
But
it's very complicated.
in the real sense of it, even if a 9-year-old is getting married and in their culture or whatever it is called, in the real sense of it, a 9-year-old is a child.
Yes, I agree.
So we can demonstrate it and say that's culture, but in the real sense of it, is that really culture or an abuse on the tone with culture, where you know culture will cover everything, just like religion will cover things. People can do something bad, and because they are pastors or they are mother in Israel or whatever, no one knows it, no one can see it, and everybody just thinks everything is well. So we're saying that because things are being swept in the carpet. And I'm saying there are great and fantastic marriages, don't get me wrong, that are based on following the precepts. Everything is going on fine. But there are also I'm not even gonna listen to you. There are also people who did the same thing. There are also people who did it, because what we are doing and what we are doing now, this is what happens to people. I'll give an illustration. Something happened to me. It's not anything that has to do with virginity or whatever. But something happened to me a few years back, and many, many more years, if I could say. And when I told my pastor, instead of my pastor giving me encouragement, said, "Oh, you must have done something bad. That's why that thing is happening to you." This is what I am trying to preach, to say that as much as people can be whatever God is speaking to you, you want to do your thing your way as God has led you. This is why some people wear earrings and some people say, "No, God is telling me not to wear it." We have to then get to the point where we would know that if someone decides not to wear earrings, well, it's them and their cross, which is what you are preaching now, but that's not what Ron is preaching. So this is what I'm saying. I understand what you are preaching. I understand that people, if want to follow, because I know and I can tell, even though you're not saying it, and I'm not saying this to make you feel any good or any bad, but I am saying that I could tell that what you are talking about is not just some physical, "Oh, I saw my husband," or "I know that this is my husband, we are talking and we know each other." No, it's deeper than that. And that's what we are not teaching people, to say that, you know what, you can be looking. So many people look, but they can't see. So we have to start preaching the reality. It's easy. You make it seem flawless, but it's not. So that's what I'm trying to say. And back to Ron, we all are not going to do things like the way that you are saying it.
Okay, can I say this now? Before I was unceremoniously off stage by the
Yes, you were unceremoniously interrupted because you had used more than 10 minutes.
No,
What are you talking
Oh
about?
my God.
Okay, so back to what I was saying.
John,
No, you are done with whatever you are saying. You are done with whatever you are saying. 10 minutes, you have not finished. You are done. Kayode, please jump in. You are done. You can't say what you want to say in 10 minutes. When you are done, when you finish your music, Kayode will speak.
So back in the days,
let him talk.
You cannot just go.
He has spoken for more than 10 minutes and he still hasn't made his point.
Back in the day was.
Kayode,
let him talk is back in the day now.
Somebody was saying that what was the economic importance and of what use was it?
Yeah,
it was Abby that said it.
Yeah, I was the one that said it. Please don't always mention me. Abby Fash. Yeah, that's my name.
You lot are crazy.
Dangote's girlfriend to be asked that of what economic value was it. This is somebody that wants to date Dangote. Okay. Now let me tell you the value.
I don't like that. Don't use that illustration, because you know that I know the reason why I want to date Dangote. Okay. So don't use people that don't know why virgin is important. I say what is the economic? I know the economic viability of dating Dangote. So don't block my vision.
Okay, let me add to it.
Apostle, we hear of this.
So now, those days you cannot. The only kind of daughter you can give her to a king, or to a rich person, or to a noble family is a virgin. You
If
cannot
the
give.
ones that are not virgin, what will now happen?
What will it do? Will
It's
he kill
not about
himself?
virgin, it's about Tibasu.
Ah,
When they
what
are not
now?
virgin and they've been raped, what would then happen? They now do fraud and then give the
Or on the
person
camel
virgin
right
shine.
there, or the camel or horse rides there, she loses her hymen on the camel.
Now,
You're not saying
wait,
she's not a
hold on,
virgin.
hold
They
on.
will sue Nana.
Now,
No,
those
as long as she has a
wait,
police report, she's okay. Happy.
okay. Now, those days, they did just give out, virgins. They didn't just give out virgins with a label written on their foreheads. What they did was, on the night of the wedding, they usually put a white sheet and everybody's waiting.
They have improvised that one now. Maybe you can buy go to
Oh, my
blood.
chicken. Oh, my nice chicken inside the room.
Wait. The topic is virginity before marriage. What happened now? I'm telling you what was going on before everything Dabaru. I'm explaining it to you, see, in simple terms.
You know what happened? What happened? Why did it change?
That's what I'm explaining to you now.
You are explaining why it changed.
You have explained for over 10 minutes.
Wait. So I think if people deliberately want to obstruct the truth, and I'm not going to stand
Which
for it.
truth?
You guys
What
don't want to
truth?
hear the truth.
Because if you say it, you say it's true. I look at this like
Even Bookie that wants to stick to our Christian virtue and principle, she states her facts very clearly. Ron was not dancing yo-yo. All about
she was done.
Oh, okay, wait. So now, if a peasant, this economic value now.
These are not that 5 minutes is been talking nothing. Nothing.
Child.
Oh, there. I've been learning how to talk. Let me talk.
We'll be here 3 hours.
It might be minutes.
Okay, so remember that a peasant, that's a very poor person in the past that who didn't have anything, who was in the lower echelon in society, who jumped class just because he has a virgin daughter. And that was the advantage back then. Somebody was just a cocoa farmer.
The question I asked was, what is the economic viability of that particular act today? I didn't say spiritual, I said economic viability, emotional benefit. Okay, those are my questions.
Good.
Today, I didn't say in those days.
Wait, hold on. Now, the more body counts you have as a woman,
body
it's
count.
going to damage.
No, because I want to hear you very well now.
Abi, her body counts. Because she has meat on her body that she's rolling as she has sex.
Listen. You know the funny thing? Wait. You know the funny thing? I said this thing before, you people understood it. Now you don't want to understand it. Let me repeat myself again.
Okay.
For every person, for a female, now remember, the male is the giver, the female is the receiver. Any philosophy you want to look at it, that's the way it is, right?
Well, the male is the giver. Okay. I just want to be sure that I heard you right.
Continue.
Yeah. So now, male giver, female receiver. Now, because you are in a receiving position,
is it scientific understanding?
We're going to be here for 3
hours.
No. I want to know. Is this scientific?
Now let him finish.
No, I just want to understand. No. I want to understand. Is this scientific?
It is scientifically and emotionally and sociologically proven.
Now, okay. Sorry, I just want to. Sorry, Eruka. Sorry.
Okay, back to what I'm saying. Now, if as a receiver, as a goalkeeper, you keep receiving goalposts and you have to adjust to every striker that comes within the penalty box to dodge, to catch, and everything. Now, remember that you are developing multiple. No, that's rather far-fetched. I wanted to say multiple personality, but you've taken So now remember that you've been adjusting to different men that you meet at different times.
Please, can you rephrase that word? That person has been adjusting, not you. That person. Go on.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was not muted.
Till I finish. Before you ask any question.
I'll mute myself, don't worry.
Yeah, okay. Now, as a woman or as a lady.
Ron, how long are we going to have to listen to this your lecture? How long?
So for us,
you know,
as long as
You will not mute me on my own show. How long are you going to take to lecture us? This is ridiculous now. This is becoming ridiculous. Only you 20 minutes you've been talking.
now, so for
Mr. H has not said one word since. Not one word. We'll be waiting for you.
I'm going to finish my discussion before anybody talks, so just be patient.
So 20 minutes, you are not yet finished.
Because you're interrupting. When you stop interrupting.
20 minutes is more than enough for you to have made your point.
This truth you don't want to hear, you're going to hear it this evening.
Which nonsense truth? According to you, therefore it is truth. We are not interested. You have more than 20 minutes to say your truth, and nobody is interested. Move on. Move on.
For another 3 minutes. Another 3 minutes.
3 minutes is not finished. I'm muting him, and if possible, I'm taking him off. What kind of thing be this?
Okay, so back to what we're saying. Back before I was rudely interrupted. Actually,
that's part of the 1 minute that's gone.
When you keep moving from persons to person like that, and you keep adjusting to that giver's character, remember that, let's give an example, you dated 7 different men, and you've had to cope with that, each man with his demands or his wants. You have your own demands, he has his own demands, but remember that the man is the giver, and you keep coping and developing with all these different men. The person that ends up in the closet, that's the one you're hanging your boot with, will have to deal with issues that you carried over from somewhere else to come and meet him. Let me finish. He's going to have to deal with things you carried over to his house to come and deal with it. Yeah. Now, secondly, I told you not to interrupt. Now, secondly, you were saying something about religion and religious people and how they interrupted and how they did and did not do. I don't know about any other faith. Christianity is not a religion. If there's a demon, if a pastor is a criminal, he's a criminal. If members are criminal, they are criminals. If members are bad, they are bad. That's an end to it. There's no need to color everybody in a building and say that because they said they are worshiping that they are all Christians, so they should behave a certain way. In fact, it doesn't follow.
1 more minute.
If I'm doing business with somebody, if I'm to start a business and someone tells me that I'm a Christian, I'd rather choose somebody by character, not by your religion. So let's rule that out of the way. So I'm back to what we're saying. It's important that people keep virginity.
1 minute to go.
1 minute.
Okay.
Finish.
Yes, thanks, Jerry. So now, at the end of the day, you find that it's always when you keep saying that you have the right and opportunity to do whatever you like by having sex and doing all that, you might end up with children. And when you end up with children, it's a beginning of a serious baggage over your neck. So, and this is the reason why societies frown upon sex before marriage. Right. Now,
are you still going?
You guys are just.
Time's up. Enuka, you said you had your legs up since waiting to speak. Enuka, can you hold on? Let Mr. H speak and then you speak after him. So, Mr. H.
Yeah. Good evening, good morning, in whatever part of the world you are. Yes, good to see you guys again. You guys are looking so beautiful today. The ladies, you're looking so beautiful, hey?
I don't look beautiful. I am not well. Continue.
Ladies,
go to the point.
Ladies, when they don't trigger.
Yeah, but the ladies are looking so beautiful. Hello. That's a very interesting topic, virginity before marriage. As I used to say, it's, to me then, it used to be like a tradition thing, a moral thing, that, a lady has to be a virgin before she gets married and things like that. That was then. But now, it's not. Now, we need to be true to ourselves. Now, we are not in that age again. We are in another age, and it's not. It's, to me, it's not necessary anymore. It's not necessary anymore because what they, because what they were doing back then is they're hypocrites, you know. Because at the end of the day, like the discussion we discussed a while ago, when at the end of the day, you find out in Nigeria they say, you know, don't do sex, don't do this, and don't have a boyfriend. But at the end of the day, you see families having 11 children, 12 children, 13 children, and you begin to ask, what is going on here? So sometimes we just need to be true to ourselves. As Enuka said the other time, Abby said the other time, we need to sit down and begin to educate ourselves on this thing, because sometimes people do this, start dating just for adventure. Some people are adventurous. So now you can't keep saying, okay, if you're a virgin, then they like as I read in the write-up, people will say, oh, you're not a virgin, so the money they're supposed to pay, the family look like, you know, your daughter is loose or something like that. You know, it's that kind of Nigerian mentality. They will say, oh, this is loose, man, this girl is already spoiled or something like that. But it is not that. We shouldn't be judging people from that, because those sometimes you find out that the people that we are saying no, they are the saint, they're the spoiled ones, and the one that we think they're the spoiled ones are even the good ones, the good wives. You know, it's not written on the face. Some people can be behaving, oh, holy, 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 but at the end of the day, now them spoiled past. We just being true to ourselves. Where I come from, we're not true to ourselves. That is why we find ourselves in this problem. Let people be people. Let women be women. Speak to them. Tell them about this thing, and people will understand. Because I used to tell people, so why sometimes we don't talk to ourselves. That is why we find ourselves in this. We think everybody's a superhuman being. Everybody's a superhuman being. I want to marry my wife. I want to meet a woman that is a virgin. What about you? Are you a virgin yourself? You are greedy. After you have gone up and down, then you are looking for a virgin. It doesn't work that way. So the stereotype need to change to say, okay, fine. If you're not a virgin, people try different relationships. It's not the first relationship that you get into that you get married. Some is maybe after this fourth one, the fifth one, and you see the partner. You may be with one, and you think maybe I have seen somebody before. The lady said, oh, before you can disvirgin me, you must do this traditional rite and everything. Because of what the guy wanted to do, the guy said, okay, Shevina, that one. The guy went to buy goat, buy everything, go to the family house, prostrate, so that he can chop. After he chop, he says, no marrying again. So let me tell you, people are so deceitful. So nowadays, we need to begin to advise our people. You guys should stop this thing, because sometimes you are pushing people to the extreme, and people will be covering up, but they are doing it. There's a lot of you hear about people using cream to tighten their this thing, people using this thing. It's because of what the society has pushed them to, because of the stereotype. If you're not a virgin, you are spoiled, you are casted, you can't be in the house, you are this, you are loose. But at the end of the day, those people are the one that make for a good woman. It's not written on the head. And the one we say, oh, this one is gentle, she's always going to church, those are the worst of the worst of the worst ones. So what I'm saying is that we should this is the modern age. You know, we should leave all those stereotypes alone and become to reality. I'm somebody that is reality. I'm somebody that is true to myself. We need to be true to ourselves, because some of these people that are telling us, oh, you need to be very, it's just a lie. It's just because when I was younger, I used to, you need to keep yourself, you need to do this thing. But when I begin to grow up, I say, these people, you say I mustn't drink beer, but you are drinking beer in the house. How does that one cut in? You say I shouldn't follow girlfriend, boyfriend, but when I went to hear you gave birth at the age of 18, how come? Now you have 7 children, how come? You know, sometimes we need to be true to ourselves. We need to sit down and talk to ourselves to say, okay, look, if you begin to do this and this is what will happen to you. If they come to check you, and you let people take decision on their own, you just advise them, but let people take decision on their own, because it's not the first man you meet, or the second man you meet, or the third man you meet that you might get married to. You understand? And we are human beings. We're not robots. We are human. We have feelings. You know, we have feelings. That is who we are. That's who we are. That's why we use oxygen. That is who we are. You cannot change it. You cannot change my feeling. If I'm with a woman, I want to touch her. It's natural. If I don't touch and the woman says, look at this one, he doesn't know what he's doing. It's natural. So why do you want to change the stereotype, the mindset of people, while you are doing it behind? So that's me. I'm always true to myself, and I advise people to be true to themselves. So this virginity before marriage, to me, is not necessary. It's not necessary because we have feelings. We have feelings. You understand? So we might hide it behind that we don't have boyfriend, but when we're young, we were hiding it. If they ask you, do you have a boyfriend? You say no, you don't have a boyfriend. We are lying. But the only person that could understand us was my stepfather that I told you trained us. Because he schooled in University of Edinburgh. So he called us. He said, look, he told my mom in front of us. He said, look, these boys you are seeing, boys are boys. They are telling you they don't have boyfriend, they don't have girlfriend. They do have girlfriend. And he said to me, look, guys, take this 2,000 naira, take your girlfriend out. Because boys will be boys. That is what I'm saying. And we understood. He just said, no, if you want to get married or get a girlfriend, get the girlfriend from a good home. And know if you have future with the lady and you guys plan together. So he encouraged us, not hiding behind us. We are still doing it outside, but our mom doesn't want to hear that. But he called us and said, look, I know you have a girlfriend. All I need to do now, instead of saying don't be virginity, use a condom, and if you need money, come so that you can take them out. At school in the Western world, this thing is obtainable. And we grew up with it and everything worked well with us. So that's my own input in this.
Thank you very much. Now, Enuka, before you speak, I just want to say something to
We can't hear you.
with a lot of people. I've actually come to realize that the preoccupation with sex is very much an African thing, because in fact, with this whole dispensation of genders now, there are a lot of asexual and agender people who get married with the knowledge that they do not want to have sex. They just want to be together. They want companions, are in relationships, and they're not having sex by choice, not because they have any religious thing holding them or any cultural thing. It's just a choice they've made. But it's us that will be like, our mothers will be telling us, don't you let a man near you. Then when you are now in your 30s, they'll now be asking, shooting me fun? Really? Why am I having fun? Why is it the one who told me not to have fun? Anyways, Enuka,
Sorry,
what are your thoughts?
what you said now, how did you relate it to Africa? You just made a bunch of statements now. You did it on Africa. What was what you said relates to? You asked this question because you told me.
Just ask me a question. Ron, calm down now.
No.
Enuka.
I don't support this African shaming thing. You know I don't. You said it was an African thing. How is it African? Other cultures don't practice it.
Ron, we all know it's African. We know ourselves.
No, let me be asking me nonsense questions.
We know what to support.
Hold on.
Should we talk about what we know?
No, we shouldn't talk about
what we know. We'll go and talk about the culture that we
don't. We are on the internet, and this is a global platform. And we have to stop.
So we should be lying.
No, you are shaming. You are unfairly shaming Africa. It's not African.
But you said what I know. You said this thing is a good thing. So I don't think that's shaming.
No, she's saying she's making it look like like we're the monkeys that don't know what's right. It's not.
I didn't say that.
You that came up with that one, no. I did not say anything like that.
No, wait, hold on.
May I speak?
Let's backtrack.
Enuka wants to speak.
When this discussion started, we told you that this thing is not just an African thing, that it cuts across. You decided to make it an African thing. And that's why I don't agree.
Let me read the comments.
You should go into the comment section and stop asking me questions now.
In the olden days, ladies keep their virginity because they marry early, 19 to 22. But now, at over 30 or more, ladies are still not yet married. I don't know if that's a question or a contribution, but
no, that's a statement.
Okay.
May I speak now?
It's a true statement.
Yes, go on, Enuka.
At the beginning of all
but
this,
it is.
before Habi asked a specific question that put us down this line, I had said that I will speak for my culture. I'm an Igbo woman. There is nothing in my culture that vilifies sex. The vilification of sex came when religion came. And I would trace it with using our cultures, our traditions. If a woman has a child in her father's house, the child is her father's child, not the child of the man. Even if the man marries her, they will count the moons. If she is pregnant for longer than she's supposed to be pregnant, they come and carry their, but shorter than she's supposed to be pregnant, they come and carry their child. That was the norm. That goes to show you that it wasn't vilified. They knew it was happening. In fact, they will say that if the man wants to have a child, he should be a father. It is never if the woman wants to have a child, she should marry a husband. So these things were done. If you know, may I finish, please? Even during that time, we had situations where if you marry a wife, any child born of that woman, born by that woman, is your child. Nobody's checking, nobody's doing all the DNA things. Do you think they didn't know it was something that was happening, that they made that tradition? Or they just juxtaposed it? All I'm saying is that when we're saying African cultures, I don't agree with it. Talk about your specific culture, because your culture might clash with mine. And I have just shared what mine says. So as an Igbo woman, I will not teach my child abstinence. I will teach my child to be responsible. I won't teach abstinence because I don't think it works. I will teach my child safe sex methods. I will sit down with my child and explain why the child should listen to me. And whatever the child wants to do at the end of the day, the child would have been taught from 0 to that age to take responsibility for his or her actions. I can't be part of the whole sit down to vilify the church or vilify or any religion. It's none of my business. Everybody will still do what the hell they want to do. Either I hide it or they come out and say it openly. I know I've heard women talk to me, a 40-plus woman who is single, and tell me that, I shouldn't say I won't teach abstinence. My child will not be taught abstinence. I will die by this. My child will be taught safe sex methods and be encouraged to speak out when they need help with information. Anyway, that's what I want to say. I've spoken from my own angle, so Ron, because I know you want to.
Okay, now let me respond. Let me respond to what you said. Even though what you said is true, it wasn't a thing of pride for a man. Hold on, let me answer.
Even though,
I'm coming. Let me finish. If
Bookie,
a child,
when he has done his retort, speak.
If a child in Igbo culture, because I don't know how you are trying to paint what you say, if a child, a man's daughter, has a child under the man's roof and they have to claim the child as their own, it wasn't a thing of pride. So please don't make it
look as if you are not correct, sir. You are not correct, sir.
You know what? Anybody that is Igbo, hold on.
I'm sure there are Igbo people, not Igbo people. Correct.
Igbo people, if you're in the comment section, please chime in into it. Because you're trying to make it like it's a glorious thing that fathers just came. I have daughters for them to be happy.
I did not say it was a glorious thing. I was telling you what
it was a shameful act. It was a shameful act the father had to swallow.
By whom?
By the society, by the Igbo society.
Speak about your society. Speak about your society. It was not shameful in my view. It was not shameful in my side. I speak for myself.
Is your Igbo town in isolation? Is your Igbo town in isolation? You think fathers were just having daughters for them to have children under their roof? No.
Do you know the history of Ihanwine? Hold on. Do you know the history of Ihanwine?
Ihanwine is it woman marrying wife?
Do you know the history of Ihanwine? Do you know
that's the woman marrying wife? I'm answering your question.
How are we supposed to hear who is speaking when one person she's talking now?
You aren't even asking. You see, you are saying you are asking a question. But what you're saying is the Igbo culture, the Ihanwai about the woman marrying a woman. You are not asking a question. That is not the tone you used to ask a question. You didn't ask a question. You are trying to attack me to make your point right. You are not right, Ekene, in this. Because at the end of the day, it was not. It was not.
We didn't let her finish. We just heard about the Ekene wine or something, and we didn't even know what it is.
Let me explain it to you. When he says Ihanwine,
can you let her finish? Yeah, Jesus. And he'll be shouting, I was really interrupted. Let her finish.
No, let me answer his question of Ihanwine.
Tell us what is Enunawine or something.
Ihanwine.
What is it called again?
Ihanwine. It means yes,
okay.
When a father asks a daughter to stay at home, maybe he didn't have a lot of children or he didn't have male children, He will ask his daughter to stay at home to have children for him. It is still going on till today. So if
So the father will be sleeping with the daughter.
Yes,
Wait,
no,
sorry.
no, no, no,
Is
no,
that the
no.
same
She'll
thing
go
as
outside.
a
how
reckless
can-
daughter? Wait,
Oh,
sorry. Is
Jesus,
that the
how are
same
we
thing as a
supposed to
reckless
learn
daughter?
anything when you jump in every time?
The
So
examples don't tally.
is it the father that sleeps with the daughter or what? How is she staying home and having children for him? Enuka, I'm asking you a
Enuka,
She
question.
goes outside to have her children.
Oh, she goes
She
out
meets, yes,
and meets
she has,
men, then comes home
yes,
and has children.
yes,
Okay,
and
okay.
has children.
Okay.
Because
And
she's
who owns those children?
her father, because she's unmarried.
Ah.
So
Oh, okay.
when you now come to that, is a shameful thing. That's what I don't understand. How?
Okay. Have you finished talking?
Enuka, does it mean that some part of it is not shameful and some part of it is shameful? Is that what you're saying? Or you're saying
There's
generally
no
it's not
part of it
shameful?
that is shameful.
Okay.
Okay, let me answer Eduka.
There is
What
no part
Eduka
of it
is
that is
saying,
okay.
what Eduka is describing happens in virtually like 70% on every Igbo community. One. Now, this is the thing. Every man who has a child or daughter, like in Igbo community, they are big on men, male children. It still goes on to today. Now, whenever it happens that maybe the son died early or the man just does not have any son, and he has property that has to be inherited by men, they have an agreement whereby the daughter, one of the unmarried daughters, will have to be in the house. In fact, they actually do a ceremony to make sure that the daughter does not leave the house. She's going to bringing the male children to that family. Do you understand? Now, secondly, another thing Igbo culture
Is
does
that
is
shameful? Is that shameful?
no, they do a
And then she doesn't
ceremony
have
for it.
sons.
No, run.
Let me
Going by
finish
what
now.
you said. No. Going by what you said, is that shameful? What you have just described now, is that
No,
shameful?
that particular one, it's not shameful. And the reason
Go
why
on.
it's not shameful is because it was a decision reached. It's not as if you get just waka, go do wedding. It's not about a reckless child. It's about a community decision. It's okay. This daughter of mine is going to be the one to continue my bloodline, and this is how we'll go about it. They will do a ceremony for that decision.
But when you were explaining earlier, you were not putting a thin line there. You just said it like it's a general thing.
No, I'm giving you the shameful part.
Now you've
The
explained
shameful
it. Okay.
No,
Now you've explained it.
I've not finished. There are two sides to it. Now, if a man that does not have these problems and did not make any decision, has just children, he has his daughters, he has his son, they just did JJ, you get waka go, carry belle come. It's a shameful act. Whether the child is going to stay in the house, the whole community will shame the child, they will shame the family. Eventually, if they keep that child, the child will know that this was the circumstances that brought him to this world. He will know. So that's what I'm trying to say. Let's not try and glorify the thing.
So that one that you have described as the one that is a shame one is like 30%. Is that correct?
It's like mistake.
Yeah, 30%. So in a nutshell, most of it, according to Enuka now, most of it are quite good then. So if we use 70 to 30, it will be like the shameful ones are not even noted. I'm just being putting things into perspective.
No, it doesn't fall under our discussion. No, it doesn't fall under our discussion. Our discussion is remaining virgin till you get married. Is it good, or why are we not doing it now? This was not a case of virginity. This was a case of a decision. She was encouraged to do it. So it's not a case of her deciding to do it. I don't know if you see different.
I have to say, sorry to interrupt. Now that you brought up what the topic is, the question it's really personal choice to say is it good or bad. It's not good or bad. It's a personal choice. It's not. It's I don't know. To me, the question is I don't know if it's the right question we're having. It's the right question we're talking about, because you can't say is it good or bad. Good. So what is good for someone is, I mean, like I said, it's a personal choice. Yeah, it's a personal choice. Like I don't have the same set of values or belief system or whatever as other people do, that doesn't make me a bad person if I didn't, you know, if I didn't marry as a virgin. It doesn't make the person who married as a virgin, there's nothing better about that person than I am. I just think it's
Candy, I didn't even have the option of coming into anything with virginity.
I just think
I didn't have that option.
Choice. It's all personal choice, you know. It's okay if you want to hold. If you feel like you need to find that special person and you want to save yourself for them, hey, good for you. I will never knock it. But if someone thinks, you know what, I want to enjoy myself for a while before I settle down, that's also perfectly okay.
Okay.
I think Bookie. Okay, Ron is enough. I think Bookie wants to talk. Bookie,
no, I'm okay. I'm okay. Thank you. I'm okay.
Okay,
There's a layer. There's a layer to this. Let's discuss everything now. There's a layer to it. Now, if a man dies married without a child, right? Maybe for some reason he couldn't have a child, and he dies, and the widow is left there. The widow can, right? Listen carefully. The widow can go outside and go get impregnated. But whoever she gives birth to belongs to the dead man.
So what does that have to do with the topic now? Going by your question when I talked the other time.
It's not an equal thing too.
Hold
No, because I spoke one time when he was asking me what was the relationship. What's the relationship of what you just said now with our topic?
Wait, hold on. I don't want somebody to come up with another discussion.
No, what's the relationship now?
Wait, I just wanted to tidy it once and for all. So that
No. What is the relationship?
That correlation comes in.
I wonder what's the correlation.
You guys don't want to hear because you don't want.
No, because you come up with silly things and then you expect us to accept it. Then when we do it for you, you're like
No. I'm trying to explain. Hold on. I'm trying to explain.
You're always explaining. Go and take up a job as a
Ron,
values there.
Ron. I think to some extent we have to understand that just like Candy said, this thing is a choice thing. Okay? There are principles that people don't agree with. Maybe just hold on now. You know this my Dangote that I'm talking now. I can't meet Dangote tomorrow now. I'll be thinking of sex. I won't think about it. No, I'm just talking generally now. I said I won't meet Dangote now tomorrow. I'm be thinking of sex. That's not what is going to be my priority. Do you understand what I mean? So sometimes I think we're just putting. It's going to be. We have to have written documents, written arrangements. Okay, what's the plan? What's the cocoa? Because I want to be dining with the big boys. So I need to know what's in there.
Bam.
Because from day one, everybody knows I'm a gold digger. So if I'm digging gold, let it be open. So I'm just trying to make everyone laugh anyway.
But it doesn't always work that way.
Okay, but what I'm not.
It doesn't always work that way. You don't know what his mindset is.
No. I'm saying that.
Dangote has watched any one of our show. He better get his mindset right with Abby. He has to walk. He has to
don't talk anything.
Sorry. In all my sayings. Sorry, in all my sayings, I've not even come to the part of even judging or telling people what to do. We're just discussing what was happening. You guys asked a genuine question.
But the way you are talking about what was happening, and the way that you are talking about what is happening now, is more or less you're saying that whatever is happening then is the best, and what's happening now is worse. What has happened now is that people now have choices. People can decide to do things as a Christian differently. I can decide to go.
Okay, I think you need to understand me, sir. Going forward, we don't have this.
Okay, raising up a hand again.
Now, this is the thing. I don't like it when we're having discussion and we talk about people in the past and we try to rubbish them and say,
we are not rubbishing them, but we are saying that. They're saying that in those days, people don't have questions.
That's what it sounds like.
In those days, people don't ask questions. In those days, people just do things and they are being told.
You know what? Let me calm down.
I absolutely don't agree with that. Again, we really need to. It's all very well to talk about the freedoms that we have today and everything, but we always avoid looking at the results of what our freedom is producing for us. Now, one of the byproducts of sexual freedom of women is a steep rise in abortion rates. Okay, there's irresponsibility that comes with that. If women were doing that with responsibility, we wouldn't have the rates of abortion that we did. And I don't want to hear about rape, because the majority of women that actually have to have an abortion as a consequence of rape is minute compared to the actual rate of abortions, and they're happening at ages between 19 and 24 years. In America alone, there's over 3 million abortions in a year. Now, you cannot tell me that the majority of those are as a consequence of rape. Do you understand? I'm not negating people that get raped and need to have an abortion. That's different. Or people that have a life-threatening condition and have to have an abortion. That's different. Those are in the minority calculation of numbers. The truth of the matter, you're talking about us being truthful with ourselves. If we are truthful with ourselves, sexual liberation has resulted in the deaths of a lot of children, a lot of babies.
I disagree. I disagree, Bookie. You know why? Because if a child is educated about sexual, if a child is educated, so if you like Enuka was saying, that I'll make sure that I teach my child and all of that, they are not going to be pregnant. Unless they're ready.
but I mean, the fact of the matter, the reality of your generation is that your children are not being taught. Yeah?
My generation.
But not your personal generation, the generation that we are living in. Okay, children are exposed far too early to sexual content. Children are forced to deal with being adults way before they are actually adults. There are consequences to everything that we do. I'm all for people expressing themselves and living their lives however they want to, but let's not bury our heads in the sand and behave as though we live in such a great and well-adjusted and better society because of our freedoms. We don't. And I think that there is an argument for boundaries. We need boundaries. We give children boundaries in life because it is necessary for their well-being and their nurturing, and for them to grow up to be the best that they can. We have a society that has removed all boundaries. Do whatever you like, be whatever you like, go whatever you like. That's what we're living in right now, and the result of that is not good. It's not good. That's how I see it, and that's actually what's happening. If you want to be truthful, it's not good. We are freer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But we are freer. We are freer. The people
Abby, may I quickly drop something in here? Abby, may I quickly drop something in here? Yeah, Bookie, okay, if you're saying that now there's increase in abortion, blah blah blah. Look at Northern Ireland, where women literally die because they don't want to have children due to one reason or the other, but they are not allowed to actually have abortions. There was a particular case that rocked the whole of.
How are they dying?
Huh?
How are they dying?
They're dying because then what they do then is they go to the old practices of their mothers in the past, where they lie down in hot water and use hangers and all kinds of stuff, because that's what women, because abortion is not something new. Abortion has been for a long time. There are many ways that women used to heavily use weight, and it's because of the dangers of those things. They're saying that if you're going to have an abortion, do it safely so that the woman doesn't die as well as the child. There was who's making me echo? There was a case that rocked the UK roughly about 3 years ago, when a woman, she was Asian, she had like a problem with the child inside of her, and someone making me echo.
Everybody should meet. Okay, okay, continue.
Okay, so someone is still making me echo. It's
Oh,
a,
yeah,
it,
try
it's
again.
a, uh
Is it?
Can
so
you mute?
yeah, I'm fine
Yeah.
now. The woman went to her GP because she was in Northern Ireland, and she was like, "Look, there's something wrong with the baby and all that stuff." And the man was like, "No, we don't perform." Obviously, there was something wrong with the baby. The baby needed to be evacuated, and the doctor insisted that they were not doing an abortion because they don't do abortions. And she kept pushing, trying to get something done, something to get this situation out of her. By the time they were finally able to fly her out of Ireland, because there became an issue about flying her out of Ireland because they knew she was trying to seek medical intervention. Unfortunately for her, by the time she finally got to the UK, to our side of the United Kingdom, it was too late. She died. So in
Yeah,
the
okay.
midst of trying to save this child's life, they ended up killing the mother. And there are
Okay.
many women all over the world in places where they are still insisting that they don't have a right, because most of the time, let's be realistic, the world is so savvy on birth control, on everything, that for someone to just get pregnant due to negligence is very, very, not that it's impossible, but it's very, very
Seriously?
reduced. No, it's very reduced. When there's so much, even if you have sex with someone without protection, there's plan B. There are all
I
kinds
would
of
I would
stuff.
I would encourage you to go and look at the statistics again on abortion. And the example that you have just cited is most definitely in the minority. I am
Minority report.
talking about the majority figures of abortion, all right? And they are in the millions
And you're
all
telling me that
around the
these
world.
millions and millions of
Each
women
each
who have
country
access to birth
each
control and
country
plan B,
each even with birth control, that's the shameful thing. If birth control was working, we wouldn't have such high abortion rates. Let's just be honest about that. Yeah, with the savvy that you say that we have in this technological and modernized age, we should not be having such high abortion rates still. So there is an issue with regards to that, and that comes from the liberation that women have. I'm not saying that women cannot have sexual partners if that's what they choose to do, but there is an irresponsibility that is attached to that kind of behavior, and the cost is paid in the price of pregnancies. It happens. There's no getting away from that. Yes, sexual liberation, more pregnancies, higher abortion rate, because
I
women
would think it's
have the
actually more
ability to get
STIs.
out of the pregnancy. They have the option to be able to get out of the pregnancy nowadays. Yeah, and then everything links in, because in the olden days, as we like to call it, because the social expectation was of a certain standard of behavior, you didn't have anything like that. I will agree that perhaps the women were more repressed and they couldn't express themselves and do whatever they want to do. However, that was the standard that they lived by, and they did not have or produce the kind of results that we have today. It is disgusting, the rate of abortions that we have today on the planet, and nobody talks about it. No, because women are free to do whatever they want to do. So I will forever challenge that.
You make it sound like it's bad for women to be free to. Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Exactly, that's what I was thinking.
it's bad for women to be so irresponsible that in a single year alone, 3 million children are being aborted in just one country, one nation in the world. Just one.
So it's all on the women. The women get themselves pregnant.
Well, at the end of the day, because it's the woman that gets pregnant, because it's the woman that gets pregnant, she has a greater measure of responsibility to be careful
really?
who she lays with. Yeah, she's the one that has
Very
to suffer it. She's the one that has to suffer being a single mother, having abortions, raising a child by herself, because the men are not responsible like they should be. So when a woman thinks that she can have the same sexual freedoms that a man does, well, no, I'm sorry, you can't, because men don't have to carry the same pressures that you do. And that's where the message of feminism and equality is misleading women in thinking that they can be equal to men. No, you can't. You just can't.
I'm sorry, feminism is not about being equal to men.
Thank you,
Feminism is
Candy.
about equity and equality.
I don't know.
That was
Are
the
you people
original
reading
intention
about
of
feminism?
feminism. That was the original intention, but it
Bookie,
has
may
gone
I
way
ask you,
beyond that
what
now.
book have you read on feminism? What book?
It has
Tell
gone.
me one
That
book
was
you read.
the original intention of feminism, was to give women the ability to work and to better their lives and their prospects and be educated.
And I'm not disputing that. I asked
was
you a simple question.
that
What
was
book have you read
okay.
on
I
feminism?
need to finish what I'm saying before I can answer your
Okay.
question. What the feminist movement started out doing and what it has ended up to be now are two different things. That's my point. It started off with good intentions and it did good work, but it's gone too far now. And yes, women are fighting. They feel that they are equal to men. They are not. They cannot be, simply because we are different, and we shouldn't be looking for equality in some certain things. We should focus on what we are good at as women and elevate ourselves in those
What are we
arenas.
good at?
And exactly, in what way? What
No,
are
you still
what are we
haven't
good at?
answered my
Now,
question, please.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, what was your question?
We should be focusing on.
I
I
asked
know my opinion is a controversial one, but it's my opinion based
No,
on
you
my
have the right. I'm not
research.
even asking about opinion. I said, what book on feminism have you actually read?
I haven't read any direct books on feminism, but I do a lot of research regarding writing
It's
papers
very
because
interesting
I'm
that
at
people who have
university at the
never read a
moment.
book on feminism have a very strong opinion about what
Excuse
feminism
me, because I've
is.
never read a book on feminism does not mean I do not absorb any knowledge about feminism. That's not right. I can ask anybody here. Have you read all of the Bible?
Very
So
much
because you
a
haven't read
word
the
on
Bible
the
doesn't mean you're
street.
not
You
qualified to
haven't
speak on
But
actually
I
the
have read
Bible.
all of the Bible, and I wanted to ask you a question. Where
Can
in
we
the Bible
just-
does it say anything?
Can we
against
just
abortion?
learn by your opinion? So for example, Abby, if you have a better understanding, state what it is so that we all learn. Instead of saying
No,
what
the
have you
reason
read,
why I
you're
was
shutting
asking
down-
that way was
Yeah.
no, the
You're
reason why I
shutting
asked
down
that way.
somebody's opinion by not actually
I'm not
replacing
shutting it down. I
with a
wanted to
better-
make a point.
So replace it with a better view, maybe
Point,
because
yeah.
you've read
Okay,
more.
okay,
State
let me
that this
explain why
this is
I
where
asked
you
the
made a
question.
mistake, and this is what it actually is, and then we all learn from that.
I have
Okay,
one question.
fine,
This is
Kayode.
on one.
Wait. The reason why I asked the question that way was because when I first started, with Ron would say here and there about feminism, and I had to say, what book exactly have you read? What book exactly have you read about feminism? And he couldn't tell me one book. Oh, but I've heard there. I've seen this. I've seen that. And when I had to break it down, because
does not come from books alone. Our education actually
Thank you,
comes
sir.
a lot.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Actually, a lot from books like this. It is from
Wait
history
now,
like this
and I agree with that.
a lot of books
They
get
wait. You
educated.
told me to give. You can't ask me to give an answer, and then you're also giving the answer for me now. And so I told him, I said, well, feminism was actually that is what I did my thesis on, right? So I have read virtually at least a good 70% of books on feminism. Feminism is not about equality. It's about equity. That's what feminism is about. Now, whatever it is that people want to call feminism these days, it's got absolutely nothing to do with feminism. Is a lot of people who are misogynist or misandrists. Misogynists are people who hate men, who hate women, and misandrists are women who hate men. And they're like, oh, we hate men and we're now under the feminism. No, you've got nothing to do with feminism, because feminism is asking about equity. That if you and I are standing on something,
and we're supposed to reach. So we are both supposed to reach the top of that top of that table, at the top of that shelf right there. But I am naturally short, and you're naturally tall. Even if we are standing together on the same ground, it will not be equitable for both of us to reach that place. But if something is put under my feet, who is shorter, then it makes it more equitable to reach. That is all that we are saying. That make it equitable. That if a man and a woman are doing a job, pay them the same. Don't say because one is a man, what has my gender got to do? As long as I'm doing my job the same
if a man,
as that guy.
If a man and a woman are doing a job and they are yielding the same results, then fine, get paid.
If I'm doing my job and I'm yielding the same thing.
But the fact of the matter is, feminism wants to stretch equity into every aspect of employment, for example, and that just isn't going to work, because there are some jobs. There are some jobs, for example, that men are physically built for and women can't handle it. So looking for equity in that, looking for equity in that area, for example.
If a woman isn't doing the job, wait, guys. If a woman isn't doing the job, then what is she fighting for? She's not doing the job. But if you tell me that I'm a grade 12 something and the other man is a grade 12 whatever, and yet his salary, even before we started the job, you've given him a higher salary than me.
Okay,
then that is not
the thing is, the thing that I'm trying to get across is, you see, equity, what you're saying equity really is that you need help. You should get help to do the job the same way the man is able to do it.
No, that's not what
Hold
I'm saying.
Hold on. You've just given an explanation. Hold on.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Hold on a minute.
Just use it as an example.
You've just given an example of, reaching for a shelf. Somebody is tall enough to reach for that shelf. So they ideally are designed for that job. You ideally are not designed for that job. You're going to need a little help to be able to do that job. And that's what you call equity. For me, that's really you getting a leg up to be able to do something else that somebody is better qualified to do than you.
No.
However, if in a work arena, both of you are able to equally do it without you needing help, for me, that is equitable. You shouldn't be looking to get a leg up to do a job.
That's what I'm saying. You're misunderstanding me. When I use that example, I was just trying to use a visual.
I understand what you're trying to say. I mean, the vote that's just happened in Nigeria, where the women's vote was thrown out because they wanted to have a certain number of seats made available for them in parliament and in legislation. It was thrown out, and a lot of women are up in arms about that. And I don't understand why that is the case, because you are going into an arena that is dominated by men, but yet you are asking for a space to be made for you to step into. No, if you want equity, if you want equalness, work hard and achieve the same thing.
And you think the people that are there, you think they work hard to get there?
Hey, guys,
I'm gone.
I don't want to have now. Wait, do you know that everything you have now is because a feminist stood up and fought for you? Everything. Your right to drive, your right to vote, your right to decide who you are going to get married to, and not your father handing you over to any man. That was fought for by a feminist.
Okay, again, as I've said, I respect what the feminist movement was originally about. I respect it. But like you said, a lot of women have taken advantage of it now, and maybe to be about something else, and think that, behaving like men is what they deserve. That for me is a lack of understanding about who you are as a woman and where your strengths lie. We're not in this race of life to compete with men. We're here to work alongside one another. That's the only way we produce an equitable society, because we're designed for different roles and different functions. Simple.
And feminism has nothing to do with what you just said.
So can I just say something here? First of all, I see myself as a feminist, right? But if I'm to use the same example you used, a lot of people have also taken advantage of religion to use it for their own good. So they've injected a lot of stuff. A lot of people have taken advantage of culture and they've injected themselves and basically tried to make it work for them. Even patriarchy, right? A lot of people took advantage of it and made it work for them only. So feminism as a movement, it is only normal that there will be people who will come there and take advantage of it. But it's not to be isolated. It's not an isolated case. It's just a case of what happens to everything that was started with good intentions, right?
Yeah.
So Abby was basically saying the right thing and then gave the wrong example and basically crashed.
Yeah, I gave the wrong example. I realized it myself.
Basically, equal pay.
Sorry, Abby.
Equal pay for
It's
equal
fine.
work. It's as simple as that, right? Equal pay for equal work.
1.5 liters. I mean, 2
However,
Okay.
the wall, the pattern of the wall has gradually moved, and I've said this a couple times. The pattern of the world has gradually moved from looking at the benefit of the group. In fact, they've taken the individual's benefits to be more important than the group. That's not
Which
just
is not a
individual.
feminist concept.
It's not a feminist concept. It's just the way the world has moved. Actually, I'll say that wealth is the major underlying factor. The wealthier a country or society or group becomes, the more they start to think more about the individual than the group. So what now happens, it's almost like a natural progression. Everybody wants to be wealthy. When you get to the point where most are wealthy, the individual's opinions and the individual's desires basically start to become more important than the group's opinions and the group's what makes the group happy. I don't know what is good and what is bad because both of them have real huge problems. Either way, you go back to the happiness of the group. The individuals there were totally they were unhappy. We talked about the marriage we're talking about earlier on. People were married but were unhappy from the day they were forced into that marriage till the day they died. But the society was happy because now they produced kids that came out of in quotes, home with mother and father. I'm not even sure that really had the advantage that was intended, because if people are unhappy, they're not likely to produce happiness. But then in the viewpoint of people, the children are coming from a home with a father and mother, so that's supposedly good, right? Even though none of the individuals are happy, society is happy, right? That's how it worked before. But right now, it's more like, I don't want to get married. It's part of it that basically now somebody will say, I do not want to be referred to as he or she. I want to be referred to as them. And it's the individual's right. You cannot say, well, no, I can't put it on you, but I'm not sure that there's one better than the other, because there's none of the problems that result from each of these two patterns that I think is good, that I want upon myself. Unfortunately, we are the hybrid generation. We grew up in the group is more important than the individual society, and we've seen it now evolve into the individual is more important than the group, and that's totally confusing. And now we try to say the past is better than the future, and then you see the people who now are benefiting from what I feel is more important than what the group feels. They're saying there is no way on earth you're taking me back to what I've struggled to come out of, right? So I don't know which one is the correct one, but all I've just done is establish the pattern of evolution, which, whether we like it or not, the train is moving. You can't stop it.
I just believe, like, this is my belief, right? What is good for the goose has to be good for the gander. If we are saying, virginity before marriage, what happened? Fine. You see, let me tell you one thing. Virgins don't disvirgin themselves, though. Abby, virgins let me be crude, they don't fuck themselves and become this. It's men that fuck them. So these men should be striving for this virginity, because they didn't say virginity is strictly a woman's thing. It's also a man's thing. So let's see men champion virginity amongst themselves, because when men champion virginity amongst themselves, then who are they sleeping with? They're not definitely sleeping with women, because they decided that they're virgins. So I think if we're going to be looking for a solution and going back to the good old days, since some people think it's the good old days, then let the men champion virginity among themselves.
Okay, now
Yeah,
let me
Uncle?
The assumption, there's an assumption actually that there's an assumption that this whole thing that people still want to get married in future. You are about to see, if you haven't noticed already, the marriage institution itself is already evolving.
It's dying out.
It's not, well, I don't know, evolving is what I'll say, because they're coming up with all sorts. We're kicking against it, but gradually it's coming into play, right? At a point in time, how about you talk to a couple of 20-something else and see whether they are interested in the whole marriage in the first place, talk less of whether somebody is a virgin or not, so that you understand your future as it unfolds.
Sorry,
I have a number.
Sorry, let me just quickly ask my question. I was going to ask you before. When Abby, you were asking whether, because me, I don't forget, when you were asking how many books has somebody read about feminism, the question I wanted to ask you is that how many feminists have read feminist books? That's my own question. So-called feminists.
Well, I don't know about how many feminists. I'm a feminist. I have read a lot of feminist books, so
Yeah,
I
but
know
my
what
point
feminism is.
My point
So when
is
I hear
that
people who haven't read anything, and I can automatically know somebody who has not read a single feminist book by the way they speak. I know. As soon as they open their mouth and talk, I already know this one has not read anything, and they're talking.
Abby, majority of the world haven't read feminist books.
No,
they don't care to read
that
them.
is not true. Because you haven't read it, that doesn't mean everybody else around you hasn't.
Where's Happy Fashion? Let's ask you a question.
She's there. Moving forward, the next.
It keeps going off. Sorry.
I'm here.
Moving forward, the next statement is this. Even while we try to say, okay,
Where's Candy? She was trying to ask a question. You didn't let her.
She's driving. She's coming back. So now, going back to the woman being virgin or man being virgin, I told you that even historically, when you read stories about these societies that said that there must be virginity. Let me use Bible for instance. In the Bible, rarely did you see any biblical character going to go and marry a young maiden with children. They didn't have kids. They came in. So to some extent, we are going to come under that assumption too, that it was frowned upon to men to go and be hopping around people's children. And people's children were, well, you remember that there was no schools, no university, no unisex gathering. Everything was exclusive. If you are living in a compound, all the females live in one section. Men stay in one section. If you are going to a place of worship, there was no unisex things then. So it was easy to control and maintain that order. So coming to that, I think that it should be for male and female. And scriptures is against fornication. What does that tell you? It tells you that even a man should not go and be humping around before marriage. So it's not just women. Let's not make it a women attack. It's for both men and women. We get the consequences.
Why they no come stone the man where they catch with the woman where they want
stone?
Sorry?
Why did they not try to stone?
Our case is different. Our case is different.
With the woman that Jesus saved.
Who were they trying to stone? They were trying to stone
the man only. The man did not even come. The man did not come up at all. It was the woman they chased.
I know.
Why?
I know the story. Because they were trying to stone an adulteress, not a virgin. Not a virgin that was raped or this virgin. It was an adulteress. And they had
adulteress herself or with one man? The adulteress, did she adult herself or with another man?
An adulteress is a woman that adults by herself.
Let's go.
An adulteress is a woman that adults by herself. Oh yeah, Candy, ask your question. Candy, ask your question. You're muted.
Sorry, I even forgot what I was gonna say.
Adulteress.
Abby Fash, ask your question.
No, before I think you were
rounding us up. I want Candy. Wait. Everybody wait. Candy, what was your question, please?
I can't remember what oh, because Kayode was talking about marriage now, like because that's another point. We're talking about sex before marriage. I know about 5-6 really good friends, couples that have been together for years, have kids, live together, have house together that they brought together, have no intentions whatsoever of getting married. Like the whole like Kayode said, things are evolving. And I mean, yeah, and I do agree with to an extent with Bookie that maybe I mean with all things that that come in, there's always going to be some negative effects.
Yeah.
I personally, give me 1 second. Sorry.
She's yelling.
Nigerian mother in mode. We all saw the Nigerian mother face.
I think all right. So like
Thank you. Oh,
there's something to be said that yes, with women's liberation, there's definitely been a disadvantage to it. But I still do think that we as women carry a lot of responsibility. We carry a lot of responsibility in that we do need to teach the ones coming up to be more. I don't think preaching abstinence is the answer. And I know Bookie said, "Oh, this generation." Unfortunately, it's not just this generation. I mean, I remember when I was 16 and I had friends who were already having sex at 16. And I'm 42, Generation X, and I just think it's all about educating. And I think because also, even though we're more liberated, sex in many places is still taboo. People don't teach their children about sex. People don't teach their children about, safe sex, the being responsible. I mean, as much as I said, like, people should do what they want, I do. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to say to the extent that I'm going to preach abstinence to my child, but I'm going to teach my children the benefits of waiting, of why it's better to wait. What comes is a big responsibility to take on, and I believe that we should.
She didn't say wait until marriage.
So the problem is that a lot of people don't. People just there's such a taboo. I remember talking about this once, and someone said, "Oh, you're going to be encouraging your children to be promiscuous." I'm like, no, just because I'm not going to preach abstinence doesn't mean I'm going to tell them, "Here, go, enjoy yourself." No, we have to think about this responsibly. In the South, here in the States, the statistics of underage teenage pregnancies is so high because they don't teach them, they don't give them sex education. They don't teach them about, about safe sex. It's all about, just don't do it. And while that's all well and good, teenagers are going to be teenagers. There's peer pressure. There's all these things. Like you said, like Bookie said, unfortunately, children are being more exposed. They're exposed to sex at a younger age. Unfortunately, it's disgusting. But this is the world we live in, and it's our responsibility to try and teach the people.
You can't see anything. Stop showing.
Coming up to be why it's better to put it off as opposed to. I mean, you guys understand what I'm saying? Sorry.
Absolutely.
My soapbox for the day.
Candy, can you see this?
Oh my gosh.
There's a reason why Candy has a full book in my house. Candy has
what did you write?
There's a reward Candy for president. There's a reward system. Okay,
we are rounding off, please, because I'm struggling here. So we are rounding off. So any last
Happy Fash, what was your question for me?
The question I have for you, Kay, was that when you said it was tough, and I realized that your kids are boys, and I said if they were girls, are you gonna say it's tough to them, or you're gonna teach them otherwise?
I'll tell you what I would have taught them I probably would have been the one to do the education all around. I did it for the boys. Basically, what I told the one who they like Ikebe was that look, that these are the options. That look, your best option is to abstain. I said, however, if you decide to, never ever try it without a raincoat.
Yeah.
Very simple. I said otherwise you will pay for that.
Call it a raincoat or call it the actual name.
No, I call it the actual name is because of the show. I'm not,
Yeah, go on then.
We are number 18. We are rated 18.
But basically it was like, no, Enuka, not just that. I brought out the banana and showed how it is worn, full lecture, right? And the reason I also stated that 1 minute of pleasure or less can cost you 18 years of your life.
Lifetime.
That he should always think about that. So he should make sure that he carries one in case of emergency in his wallet. And he's like, oh no, it's not good. I said, look, that like I said, abstain, best bet. Number 2, if you decide
if you can't,
do not go in there without a raincoat. Period. That's apart from the fact that there are many other things that people can catch from it.
Or fragment yourself to a pharmacy and get plan B.
If I had a daughter, right? Actually, and I think I do, from the many younger ones I interact with, same thing I tell them all the time. Same thing.
You do?
Yes. Baseline is that if you decide that you are going to do it, because you always know you are going to do it. There's no such thing like you were playing,
suddenly.
And then you fell.
There is no accident. You thought it's always premeditated. It didn't suddenly happen. The tickle, 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 something don't come out for somebody's body. It was premeditated. The person laughing and the person tickling, it was all planned. Everybody
Your
knew
mind
exactly,
is going the same direction.
Everybody knew what they were doing. They just tried to tell themselves, I have control of myself. So I'll tell both male, female the same thing. If you decide that you are going to do this thing, right? It does not have to cost you 18 years of your life. In the least, in the least is 18 years. It doesn't have to cost you 18 years of your life, and it doesn't even have to cost you a disease. Just make sure that one of you insists, right, that there is a raincoat involved. Period.
In fact, it's amazing to me that people are so concerned about pregnancy when STIs are the bigger problem. In fact, in the last couple of years, there's been a bigger increase in HIV amongst young people because they almost forgot that there was HIV. You know, and there's syphilis. They do this home test. I did mine last month. You send out for a HIV and syphilis test. They never used to do syphilis test, but they started to do it again because syphilis is on the increase. So now they send it to you to your house. You do the test, and then they send you your results after some days. But they're now doing syphilis tests because more and more people are catching syphilis. So yes, getting pregnant, to me, that was pregnant. Praise God, at least you are fertile. Nobody can tell you that you are not fertile. You brought another human being to the world. Or okay, you get pregnant. Even if you get pregnant, you find out that you're pregnant after 2 weeks. If it's not what you want, then you figure it out. But STI's consequence can be far more reaching than 18 years old. Far more reaching.
Nobody wants it.
So
I would say in my own opinion, as we round up, I'm gonna say that the fact that you can make choices if you meet a guy and you don't have to be a virgin, and if you are not a virgin, it's not the end of the world for you, but you don't have to make a decision in a rush. You have to make sure that you know the person you are bedding with. You have to make sure that you know the person, truthfully, you have sexual connection, but the sex part of it, this is still me being an old school. And I'm saying this because it's a personal preference. It's different from what is happening. And I'm not going to condemn somebody doing something that they chose to do or they want to do. But this is what I will do. I will make sure that I know the person I want to bed with. I want to make sure that I am convinced with that person to a certain extent, not necessarily to marry, maybe not necessarily for anything, but to be sure that it's somebody that I really want to have that such intimacy with. So it's just to reduce some kind of, whatever you want. At the end of the day, sexual responsibility is everybody's duty.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
and as
that's
someone who's coming from an angle where I did not even have an option of virginity, it was taken from me before I even knew what it was. I would say, you know what? Never ever get pressured, especially as an adult. Never get pressured into something you don't want to do. If you meet someone, you don't want to have sex with them, they want to have sex with you, make it very clear, I don't want to have sex with you, and that's that. No, you should not be forced to have sex against your consent. If someone tries, then look for the do not feel ashamed, you have not done anything wrong. Seek someone who can get you justice ASAP. Don't go and take a shower out of shame. Don't go and remove all evidence. Take yourself, especially if you're in a country that they're not going to be asking you what did you wear, where were you going, blah blah blah, where you're going to be taken seriously. Go and get help. And at the end of the day, when you feel that connection with someone and you feel like you want to have sex, don't let anybody then shame you for having sex and say, oh, I'm so disappointed in you, you had sex. Yeah, clap for yourself. Anyways, so that's it. Don't let anyone force you into having sex. And when you decide to have sex, don't let anyone shame you for having sex. So I hope we've had a very, very interesting time. Almost 3 hours. I knew we were going to go long on this one. But thank you for all the people who held out with us. Every single
My
person
hands
who
are up
has.
now. My hands are up.
Ron, we can
Oh
talk
my
after
We are
that.
God!
not.
Don't
We are
let
winding down. Sorry, no, we are not doing this with you.
Let me just
So
say, let me just
She
say,
said
for
we're not doing
everyone
this
who
with
has
you.
for
Ron, put
everyone
your
who
hands
has
can I
down.
just
joined us,
answer?
every single person
Can
who
I
has sent
answer?
us a comment, UD Okuk, Tuminino Silva, S.A. Bello, Busola Fash, and to every single person who has joined us, of course, to Abby, to Enuka, Candy, Buki, Mr. H, Kayode, and of course to Ron. Thank you, each and every one of you. Really appreciate you. So, till we do this again, same time, same place. Take care and God bless.
Night,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye, everyone. Bye. Bye. Bye.